Oh, my light. Here we go. What's there? There we go. We're all sorted out now. Okay, great. Fantastico. We're here. We did it. We made it. Life is good. Life is happening. It is September 18th. And yet again, we are at the 18th. Does it feel like we just did one of these to you? Because it feels like it to me. It feels like those that jump, those first 18 days of September really flew right by. So this month's theme is astrology. Mhm. And we've got the Lion King also here. In that time since I've seen you last, we've gone through another one of those, what's the word, a Mandela effect situation with a celebrity death, which I thought I'd bring into the astrology conversation just a little bit. It's not totally relevant in today's info, but it is interesting. And I felt guided to bring this in as well. Was the passing of this particular celebrity who voiced Mufasa in The Lion King, who voiced Darth Vader. I'm not going to mention their name for this one, but because they're just so freshly moved on. But for some people, they realized or felt like this person, the celebrity, had already died many years ago. So the fact that now this person's dying a second time to some people is a wake-up call that recently happened. So in a way, some people had an awakening because of this particular death situation. And who knows, one of those people might be sitting here taking this class today and you needed that validation. Like, yes, there are people in the world who witness these moments and then talk about them and teach about them, because this is not the first time where evidence of your old timeline potentially is going to bubble through and make you ask some questions about, did I traverse timelines? Am I on a parallel Earth than where I used to live? Like, did the, you know, did the technology leaps and the experimentation we've been doing, did that potentially get involved or cause some of those shifts? And observing astrology can actually make you ask those questions as well. And astrology is amazing because it works a lot cyclically. It's helpful for people who have great pattern recognition and mathematical brains. It's actually a very helpful tool for people to orient themselves in time space. And so I like to teach parts and tools of astrology here in Guardian Training on Septembers to instill some useful, I would say, yeah, useful websites, useful information from your own astrology, from your own natal and, yeah, your personal astrology situation and who you are based off of systems that are mathematically basically sussing you out. And when you realize that you can take on and you are taking on the qualities that a system is already predicting of you, it also, again, in my opinion, it takes a lot of the pressure off of the ego, and it helps the ego kind of orient itself as well in a safe manner, because this ego is trying to keep you safe. So we're trying to show you safe things to work with and identify with, so your ego won't feel, I want to say, subdued or ignored, but in a way revered and supported, as well as the rest of your mind, body, spirit complex. The person that you are is translated through astrological tools. Now, there is Western astrological tools, and then there's Eastern astrological tools, actually multiple in the Eastern realm. And in this video, we are not going to be going over, I would say, we're not going to be going over the Eastern dominant techniques of astrology, because I grew up in the Western side of the earth. So I'm more familiar with Western style everything. And so that's the lens I'm teaching from. And I'd encourage you, again, with astrology is amazing because it is a language, but it's also spoken differently depending what sky you grew up under. Because for me, I only saw a handful of a certain amount of the constellations and even the planets in a way throughout the seasons, and the times of year that I engaged with planets was different from those in the southern hemisphere, for example, and the eastern hemisphere. But these are just smaller details. What's actually beautiful is that we're teaching this class on and near the equinox, which I believe I did that on purpose last year to reflect and do every single year, because equinox is that moment where our whole planet is on the same page, basically. Sun down, sun up to sundown, we're getting the equal amount of solar exposure, which means that that day we're all equals in a way, the light of God, if I have to say it poetically. I don't know if that's how everyone talks about it, but this is what's coming up. And so last night we actually experienced a partial lunar eclipse. I don't know if you were able to go outside and see it, but we were able to see it in the West. And I went outside and I got my alert on my Chani app, told me that it was happening. I went outside. I witnessed the partial lunar eclipse. I saw the top left portion of the moon get slightly covered. And I watched how nature reacted in the desert that I live in, and how those energies were being utilized. And they were an inspiring light. I want to say that it was an inspiring moment. It gives everybody a moment to pause to see that there are bigger mechanics moving around in space. It makes it a little bit more apparent, a little more personal, right? So I hope you got to witness that partial lunar eclipse. It was really cool. And we also had a lot of geomagnetic activity, so a lot of aurora activity as well during this full moon. So people are going outside to see the moon, but they're also getting the extra, I want to say, radiation in a way, in a positive way, though. Aurora borealis, in my opinion, is positive radiation because it's been transmuted or transfigured by our own planet to kind of work in our reality, all those protons and charged particles and stuff. It's the process of that alchemy, and before our eyes, it's being translated to our environment via our planet's many, many, many layers of, anyway, cell body, cell wall, cell membrane layers, basically, to protect us. So a lot of us get stuck, I want to say, in our perspective from Earth. And my work doing the space weather study has shifted that perspective for me, because I get to witness the sun react to when the planets shift in their astrological alignments to each other, which shifts the invisible but visible electromagnetic spectrum and geometries between, and polarities in a way, between all of these moving bodies in our solar system by itself. So at least expanding to the solar system size and our heliosphere, they call it, which is basically the consciousness, our sun, and the light of our sun can morph and shift with its gravity, is our heliosphere. And within this sphere is where we are even yet to fully evolve into self-awareness, I would say. And this is kind of the stage that we're at. And so for the space weather, I get to see when the planets move around, and then I see the sun shoot coronal mass ejections and solar flares towards other planets, not just us. And that shifts everything. It changes the perspective of so many things. And it really takes you out of this earth-centric or geocentric view of our lives. And it really helps me see that what the sun is doing and how the other planets are involved, and how those larger bodies in our heliosphere impact me, impact society. So I look forward to today's workshop, because I'm going to be showing you, actual websites with actual tools that I want you to do for yourself at home. So this is going to be this is going to be more, you're going to have to participate in this workshop a little bit, but you can do it at whatever time. Obviously, you can watch me now, rewatch this video, get the website URLs from the video themselves, if you have to squint or whatever to see what website I'm on, I'll say it out loud, and look it up yourself and get those charts done for yourself and dig a little deeper, because we're having an issue on this planet with narcissism, basically. So people are having a hard time figuring out when is an appropriate time to turn their attention onto them and their soul, and when is an appropriate time to share their attention with others. And so when it comes to this astrology information, I want you to do and get your info and from the websites I'm going to show you, get this stuff, this astrological info for yourself. And in doing so, you're going to learn yourself more. And you're also going to be able to relate to others who have the similar situations than you as you do. And you're going to have that in common. And instead of it being like a moment of, I want to say, argument or confrontation or competition between you and others, it's a place, it's a bridge. It's a bridge between you and others. And it's an undeniable bridge in a way that it sticks up for itself. It is a truth that doesn't need defending in a way, which is really helpful. So it's only narcissistic if you think that everything that your astrology is doing is better than everyone else's astrological placements, and you use your information to try and leverage yourself over others. That is a narcissist. So I'm not going to give you all this information so you can leverage yourself in an argument over someone else or use it to belittle another person. So just with that in mind, the intention of this is for you to know yourself and connect better with others, because astrology is a language, like I've been saying, and it's the language of people living in the same heliosphere as well. And the conversation not only about our sun, but our sun's uh, electromagnetic connections to nearby suns. There is a big argument that our sun is a binary sun, and it has a connection to Proxima Centauri, or the Alpha Centauri, Beta Centauri, Alpha Centauri A, B, and C, and Proxima Centauri, excuse me, which is about 4 light years away from us. And then there's a star system that's about 5 or 12, I think, closeness light years to us. And you know what I'm saying? There's a neighborhood of stars that are nearby, and they're also influencing things. And so not just our heliosphere, but then the combined movements of all, as if you're looking in a petri dish again, combined movements of all of these all of these stars and the pulsing life that's coming out of them and what they're doing and making around them is a big chit chat. So, what tools are we going to look at today? Great question. I am going to pull up that, and I'm going to share you my screen, and we're going to figure that out together. And I'm going to show you all the goodies I have set up for this. Whoop. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Thank you very much for your interest in this workshop. I'm just going to make sure that the tab I want is actually here, and it's gone. Here she is. Okay, so here's the tab I want. And I'm going to rant on this in a second, as soon as I get this up. Okay, great. I think I did that. I think we're sharing. Haha, you see me. Okay, so before we get into this and I teach you these tools and then do a little rant at the end about how you can use your particular astrology to be yourself and creatively show up and not be some sort of porcelain fake ass creator, but just be a human being with a skill. You don't have to be anything more than that. And a human being with the skill, and you're putting it on the internet because you want children to be smarter, not stupider. That's basically like the prime directive, is we want the children to be smarter, not dumber. So put your smartness on the internet for them. So you can just, you can say, like, when you got old, that you tried to increase the intelligence of this planet. You genuinely tried. And no one can take that away from you, because you'll know that you really did that. You did that work. So I just want to encourage that work. And we'll go into that a little more at the end. So today I was inspired by this audio. I actually posted it yesterday on my Instagram, but I'm going to let it play because I don't think it's actually you're not going to hear it, but I'll read it for you. Okay. So it says, the fastest way to know if something will work out for you is to try it. Okay. This includes being a content creator, or, at least uploading your wisdom online, just shoving it in there. Okay. The fastest way to know if something will work for you is to try it. Learn to proceed without certainty. Life doesn't come with a trial period or a money back guarantee. There is no GPS for your journey, nor a step by step guide to becoming who you are meant to be. Every day, you're writing a story without knowing the ending of the story. You can spend years thinking and theorizing and planning and preparing, but until you take that first step, it's all just speculation. And as Soren Kindergarten said, life can only be understood backwards, but must be lived forwards. You can't wait for certainty to start living because by the time you are certain, the moment has already passed you by. Okay? Here we go. We're on our first topic here. So just a quick note on what I just read for you and like we're going to rant about at the end of this video as well, this workshop. All these workshops are designed as well to encourage creators to begin making their own workshops and begin teaching basically. And these workshops are also designed as a refresher on a monthly basis for the guardians of Earth and of this universe to gather and review a helpful topic and helpful tools. Like I said, refreshing. People who are always training, they may never have to go into any sort of battle. My ears are ringing, but you're well trained. So, best case scenario, if you do have to go into a battle, does that make sense? That's where we're coming from. I'm trying to put it into a definition that's short and cute and sweet and tagline sellable. So if you guys can pick up what I'm saying and shorten it for me, let me know. But I have to just tell you straight up, honestly, candidly, why I'm doing these videos. Like, it's cute, but it's also very serious. It's like, okay, the guardians actually need this information, and I have to just trust that you're going to take what you need. And I'm doing my duty here, paying it forward, passing along the good vibes, passing along the things that helped me be a better guardian. That ear ringing I got from my right side, so that's a positive greeting in my opinion, was very like echoey. That was very intense when I said that. So it was very much like high energy frequencies just came in when I was talking about the duties of guardians. Okay. This is a very serious situation that I'm an unserious guardian in a way when it's necessary, when it's appropriate to have levity and smiles. That's extremely important to have as often as necessary as possible. And then when there is serious things to say, we can say them briefly. They will be ingested and they will be utilized with efficiency. Okay. Little rant done about that. So let's move into some of these tools that I have since last September have I want to say utilized and want more people to be aware of. Fair? Fair. So let's go into this. The first thing, which is I'm warming you up. So we're warming up the waters. This is called primal astrology. And this is one that I have enjoyed this year. In the primal astrology system, I am considered a pelican. You will be given a animal basically and an explanation about your career, your love life, and I want to say your overall demeanor basically because of your astrological connection to this animal. I'm trying to see. So this is primalastrology.com. Clearly on this webpage, it's asking me to click here on this star to get my information. So I'm going to move through all this information. You can see clearly here that you're going to be asked to pick your birth year. You'll be asked to, look at this. Holy crap. They actually just decided to, I don't know what algorithm this is, but they just decided to write everything down on this website. So you could look at all your friends, everybody's birthdays that you know, come to primalastrology.com, click on that star, and you'll be able to check everybody out. 1969, for example, one of my favorite years in human history, in the most recent human history, and one that I feel like that you need to know about for the lapsing and the overlapping of what we're doing right now in history. Very important. So, shout out to our 1969 babies. My father-in-law is one of those people. And I actually know there's quite a few people in our community of starseeds that were born in 1969, which makes sense again because of how it shifted the space race and how people's mentality shifted. So I think that allowed a few aliens to arrive, more alien DNA potentially to be allowed to be born here and check out Earth. So, for example, these are some of the I want to say animals that hook up with 1969. So let's go to the present day just for fun. So if you, oops, whoa, that's going way into the future too. That's very cool. We don't need that. So we're in 2024. Let's just say somebody had a baby in February, early February 2024. Their child would be a leopard according to this system. And here is our leopard write-up. Okay, so we've got, like I said, compatibility information, career goals information, and even some celebrity information, which is interesting. So now I'm thinking, am I going to see the celebrity that I channeled earlier today? And there goes my ear again, a little bit less loud, but a little pressure. It's like someone standing right here giving me little feedbacks. So let's see if their name is in here. No, she's not in here. I was picking up a little bit of Whitney Houston energy today by accident. So I was like, is she in here? But no. So, for example, leopards can't help but find themselves involved in politics. So you may find a ton of politicians who have the primal astrology of a leopard. Now, this is a little bit niche and new. I want to say this is not super viral yet. A lot of people, you'll go up to them and be like, hey, what's your primal astrology? And they're not going to know what you're talking about. And that's totally fine. Don't worry about that. There's also another system now I'm remembering with playing cards that I also learned about this year, which I'll have to sneak into after this demonstration. But the primal astrology is very cute. And this one is, like I said, this one, it mixes Eastern and Western information, it seems like. So this is a little more of a globally friendly system. And if you're a super astrology nerd as well, this may be a little moment to break free because some of us are even intimidated to talk to you guys about our astrology because you're so good at it. But we just want to connect with you. And sometimes I feel like people who are super intelligent are actually not very good at noticing when people are just trying to connect with them. They take it more as an intellectual challenge and they want everything to be correct. And so they will nitpick what you're saying instead of actually connect with you on what you're saying. So here's a system, like I said, to kind of, I want to say, go past those primary security guards with people who are super familiar with astrology and then also people who are kind of skeptical of astrology depending on their situation, depending on how they've interpreted the more recent translations of the Bible, which we don't have to get into that. But as scientists, it just doesn't quite show the best trustworthiness as a source of information. That's all. It's just objectively, like I said, super high intelligent people are going to say objectively, this source is not fully accurate. And that's fine. You can have that super intelligent side to yourself, or, yes or no with something like this isn't right, or this isn't it. This isn't fully it. But you don't have to condemn the system. Just because it's not meeting the standard in which you expect it to, does not mean that it isn't going to supply you with knowledge and information and insight, at least even about where people are on this collective social IQ level, and then maybe how you can apply your intelligence to help people raise their own intelligence. Okay. So that in mind, I want everyone to also find some compatibility to understand themselves in love, understand how they act, understand how they flirt, understand how they want to be communicated to. This is all also available through astrology. This information through pretty much any system you want. That's all built in because pretty much humans, our main objective is find a mate and find a purpose or something to do with your time that can bring in wealth and keep wealth and abundance flowing. So I'm grateful for the primal astrology system to have that information to help you guys out. So if you have the time right now, while I move on to the next systems, because it's not very hard to do, I would invite you, if you're here live with me in the workshop, to get your primal astrology animal and just share it and maybe a couple things about it in the comments for the live replay and for just the workshop fun. So I'm going to just say hello to some of you who are in here. Hello, Angelica. Hello, Alex. Hello, Trevor. Hello, Riley. Hello, Unveiling Addiction. Yeah, you caught alive. Hello, Queen Victor. Nice to catch you. Hello, Peter. Nice to see you, bud. All right, we've got, ooh, okay, so we've got some results coming in already. So we've got a catfish over here, Riley. Very nice, very cute. It's unexpected animals too, but is it? I want you to tell me, did you expect this animal or was it a surprise? Okay, Queen Victor says that we've got an ant. Oh, excellent. That's an X. I mean, all of these are great. I mean, I love animals. So every animal has superpowers, right? So I can't wait. Peter says golden retriever. Is that real, Peter? Okay, we've got, sorry, I identify as a panther, says Queen Victor. Of course. So you're an ant in this system, but you identify as a panther. Don't worry about it. That's totally fine. I remember liking catfish as a kid. So interesting. Well, there you go. Very cool. This is what I also noticed. Like as a pelican, I wasn't like, oh man, because I never grew up around bodies of water. But pelicans are so wonderful. I mean, how can you kind of just stop and watch them whenever they are flying around because they command such a presence. They're kind of gigantic also in their own way. They got some density to them. And it's fun watching them feed and eat too. I mean, they've got such a unique system of, I want to say, of being a bird in general. They're a unique bird and commanding bird. They're big too, but they're not threatening, which is great. And, you know, they're fishers, they're the less intense predators out there in the bird community too. So just me rambling about myself, but that's the thing is like dig into it, know thyself, think about it, meditate on this. This is what this workshop is about today. Yes, I'm that old. Okay, whatever. That's not what I mean, Peter. I just was surprised golden retriever was one of the primal astrologies, but hey, that's a great one. I mean, golden retriever is trending right now technically as a personality trait and in the lingo I would say of people, couples, I would say, people in relationships, comparing each other to golden retrievers is very much a thing right now. And all types, there's all types of love languages. Okay, catfishes are complex and somewhat mysterious creatures, far more than most people. Yeah. Those born under the sign of catfish will experience strong inner conflict during their lifetime. That's because they have two different sides of their personality and have difficult getting in sync. So accurate. See? Doesn't that feel good? I mean, you wrote it in all caps. I hope that means you're having some kind of accelerated experience through this information, right? Trevor says, I'm a pit bull. In primal astrology, in the animal kingdom, the pit bull is often seen as a strong and potentially dangerous creature. My firstborn son is pit bull and can be very protective of those close to them. Yeah. And they also have very high pain tolerance. So even teaching them is hard because usually, you can kind of, with dogs, you can kind of, they communicate with each other through nips behind the neck and the ear, like motherly, the mother dog will do that. So that's what you do to your dog to kind of inform them like, hey, whoa, that hurts, or you're jumping on me or whatever. It's a corrective thing behind their arm, their front arm and their neck right here tends to be kind of that area where they communicate a lot. And with pit bulls, I've noticed you can just punch them honestly, like, and especially when they're young, it's just so hard to get through to them. So I don't recommend you hitting them at all because it doesn't even work. And getting through to animals for the most part, especially dogs, is through their stomach. And that's what zookeepers all around the world have figured out and Brock, Pokemon trainer, he figured that out too. But figuring getting any beast to do what you need is you have to have something of high caloric value for them. That's the main motivator. And so that might be your case as well, but I feel you on that. Pitbull is an interesting one. So you may know that about yourself. You're like, oh, yeah, you can push me around pretty hard and I'm not really going to be deterred from my direction. But a good, a good smelling meal, that'll maybe do it. So your description for golden retrievers, spot on. That's fantastic. So great job, everybody. This workshop is going fantastic so far. Pats on the back. All right, let's move a little deeper. Move a little deeper. Okay, actually, what was that system called? I'm going to check on my phone really quick because what is that again? Cardology? What is your card? I think I want to say. Yes. Okay, so let's look into that. I didn't grab a website to do that, but it looks like I got one. So let's do that one next, is what I'm feeling guided to do. So now my nose is getting itchy. It's so crazy how that happens. It's just so much right at the tip of my nose when I'm channeling some good stuff. Let's move this out of here. Make some room. Cardology. No, not cardiology. What did I write? How do they write it on here? Playing card. Is that right? Here we go. We did it. Not cardiology. Different workshop. But honestly, though, literally synchronistically, I'm just going to say it. That's been coming up a lot today. Is heart health. That's come up. I want to say now this is like the fourth time. So now I'm going like, oh man, does my heart need help? So let's just let's just use this moment, because in this system, Alexis is the king of hearts. So I'm on the cardsoflife.com. Okay. Where you're going to put in your birthday again with this and find your card. I don't think you even need to put anything in. We have a little system here figured out. So it's just your birth month and the birthday we need for this system. A little more basic, okay? So classic playing cards. King of Heart is my particular card. Let's see if I can make this a little smaller so you guys can even do this without having to go off watching the video. But just a quick meditation, you guys, for our heart's health, okay? And for the health of all hearts, okay? Because we're all sharing a heart. Let's just imagine we're all sharing one big, ginormous heart as well. So we're going to make sure that that heart is healthy, because that's the primary heart, and then we're all fractaled off of that primary heart, right? So if that heart's healthy, all our hearts will be. So why not go to the source? So let's just go into our mind's eye right now. I want you to picture an anatomical heart of a human being, right? And your third eye, if you could do that for me. And I would like you to make it entirely white light. I want that heart to be in white light. Okay, so we're going to just fortify that with our vision, crystallize that with our vision. We're seeing a white light crystalline heart. And crystalline means it has a high hardness. This is diamond level hardness, fortitude of crystalline light. Now, this heart is fortified with our intention and our love. I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in, with me, to kind of brighten this heart. So with your sound, the sound's going to vibrate this thing and it's going to make it shine brighter. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, breathe in. Make a noise, whatever tone you feel like. Very nice. I felt that go into my own heart space, which is interesting because I wasn't even intending that to happen. But it's like once you repair the primary heart, I felt it reverberate into my own. And the reason this is coming up real quick, intervention wise, here was actually our celebrity guest today. So maybe we should do her chart. Let's look at her chart at the end of this, because why not, right? So Whitney Houston was who was coming through. She is a conservative human being. She actually potentially passed away more so because of heart weakness and issues. And a lot of people who suppress a lot of information have gone through a lot of pain. Their heart just starts to break down. The tissue really just starts to break down, and people don't realize that it's weakened. And then they overdo it, and basically that intense muscle where all that blood and pressure is spiraling around, it loses its ability to basically hold that charge, and the energy escapes in weird ways, and it can be devastational for people. So we really want the heart to be in our minds, and we'll see what it is in her astrology. We'll check that out for her. But heart health for her, and that was something that was being channeled by the medium I was watching, and who was channeling this totally by accident. He didn't mean to. He was talking to her ex-husband and I believe her daughter as well on the other side. But anyway, so heart was a big deal. I watched this medium then do another reading for other celebrities I knew from the past, and they were also getting the message for their heart. Okay, so cardiology, heart, 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 big time. So I want you to keep fortifying our collective heart, heal all the hearts, okay? And the heart chakra of Earth may be Glastonbury, England, and it may also be in Hawaii. It is in my realm from my research and information. Personally, that's what the kind of conclusion I've come up with so far energetically for the earth chakras. And I'm not going to be a stickler about this information. I'm just trying to help. Okay. You take what I say and add it to your library. As a psychic medium, I'm basically here to collect a library of information. So when I'm connecting and need information, I know what I'm looking at, and I have a broader spectrum of stuff to pull from. So I'm always looking for information. I'm always ingesting info and intel all the time. And then those patterns show up much faster because you're ingesting so much, and all of a sudden heart, like I said, comes through strong. And so heart health, let's make sure that that's just put in there. Workshop bonus, heart health, Winnie Houston, that's coming in. So let's get your cardology, you guys. Was that enough stalling so you can tell me what your cardology is while we move on to the next systems here? Heart and magnetism too. Yes, indeed. So let's get your cards, okay? Let's get your cards. Is it who you're expecting? You feel a little more special, from your card. One of these systems going to make you feel extra special. It's just a matter of which one. Okay. Okay. So Queen Victor's here saying 3 of spades. Fantastic. 3 of spades. Oh, that's just making my brain go on like an adventure. I don't know why, but I think you should look up 3 of spades symbology. And I think that means something. I think that has another layer for you. So check that one out. Whoop, what's happening here? Anyway, sorry. 3 of clubs. We've got 2 threes in the building. Wow. 3 is strong number. Very strong. Ace of diamonds. See? And, it doesn't surprise you with some people too. You're like, oh, you're an ace. Oh, you're a king. It's kind of like, yeah, you're giving me ace energy. You're giving me diamond. You know what I mean? And it's funny. It's funny. So let's move on to the next system, you guys. While we've did our mini healing everybody's heart meditation, just on an emergency stint there. No problemo. So this one's fun as well for you guys. So another system I was quick side story, Alexa side story. I always knew I was going to be into these systems. My mother was into them. This is on a surface level. You go to the bookstore and you can buy a book for your kid that's about your birth gemstone and your birth flower. And I had books with pop-ups and like interactional like little spinning wheels. And you know what I mean? You can make the pages and you can move things around on pop-up books. They're few and far between these days. I don't see them around, but I had a pop-up book thing that was super complex. I have no idea where my mom got these books, but I wish I had them these days because wow, like one of those things like if you could pull anything out of a bag or like a Santa Claus magical bag and it'd be a toy from your childhood, those two books would definitely be something I'd want to see again. I wonder where they went. Like so much of my stuff from my childhood and all my stuff, where did it go? Like I think my parents were donating stuff. We always packed light. We were donating stuff all the time because I don't remember any of my things are. But with crystals and gemstones, my mom took that very seriously, and our our birthstone was very important to us because my mother and I are both October children. She is early October, I am mid late October, and so she's closer to the Virgo realm. I'm literally minutes away from the Scorpio realm. So we we really loved opals. Opals was super important to us, and my grandfather, step grandfather, gave me jewelry as a gift often. And as a little kid, you don't really care. In my opinion, I wasn't taught the importance and the magic of metals and crystals in a real way. It was like, look at this book who's talking about it and suggesting it. You know what I mean? It was all kind of a suggested thing that you're getting out of a textbook or a book. It was never like a lived, breathed, embodied experience until after 2012, honestly, when we had that major shift. Then it was like, no, 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 this is real. Energy is real. The frequencies from these things are palpable and acting upon our world. So, for you guys in this system here, we have modern and traditional as well. So, you, especially October, I know one of them has multiple crystals or gemstones for them. Pink tourmaline is also one for October, but opal is like usually the winner. So here's the list. I'm just going to verbalize them since this one will be a little bit shorter and easier to do for those of you listening. So January in the modern system, garnet, which I recently talked about, great stone. January is garnet in both systems apparently. In this particular literal International Gem Society website. Like this isn't just the frou-frou website. I'm on the gemsociety.org website. So a little more serious on the gem side of this society here. So January, garnet, February, amethyst, March, aquamarine in the modern system, bloodstone in the traditional system. April, diamond in both systems. May, emerald in both systems. June, we have alexandrite in the modern system and pearl in the traditional system. I think maybe they moved away from some more rare stones to try and encourage people not to over mine these things, is what I'm getting. So we don't want the pearl industry to lose its mind, because that's a living, breathing organism that makes pearls. And it's a little more inhumane to be harvesting and dealing with the pearl industry, for example. So that's my thought on that. So July, ruby. August, we've got in the modern system, peridot or the spinel. And then in the traditional system, we've got sardonyx, which most people, we don't talk about sardonyx very often, but it's still really cool crystal. September is sapphire. We are in the Sapphirian month, and sapphire has been coming up so much because it is also like the crystal children, the rainbow children. The sapphire is also one of those particular leagues, I would say, of souls that's coming up in importance a little more, and I'm connected to, I would say, in a way, and I have a personal vested interest in for some reason. So sapphire energy, especially for the rest of this month, astrology, sapphire, September. Okay. Sapphire, September, big deal. Now, next month, October, my month, we've, like I said, tourmaline, opal, tourmaline in the modern, opal in the old system. November in the modern system, golden topaz, citrine, so yellow energy. November in traditional, topaz, a rare crystal. December, we've got modern system, blue zircon, blue topaz, tanzanite. Old system, turquoise, and lapis lazuli, which is weird. I don't know why they did that personally, but just to kind of cover all our bases, there's a ton of crystals available. These seem to be the ones that I want to say at least gemsociety.org believes is the hip happening situation right now for birthstones. In the United States, it says people draw freely from both of these lists. The lists of traditional and ancient birthstones are well known in the United States. Actually, this list of traditional originated in Poland. Poland has also been coming up a ton. Old Poland, too, especially. So this is so funny. I don't know why, but I'm just going to give you this extra little bits whenever I can, the little sprinkles of fairy dust in between this information. Channeled mediumship info, I think might be important to you. In 1912, the National Association of Jewelers released a list of so-called modern birthstones. Isn't that funny? So 1912 technically is this modern list from, which is kind of crazy. Over 100 years ago was the modern switch from back in the 16th century list, which is kind of awesome. So this is an old system. Yes, so the most common way to do this and use these stones is mothers get rings and jewelry with the stones of their children and of themselves and of their spouse all together as kind of like a breastplate of honor or a ring or a necklace. And dads do this too. Moms and dads, very common to do this for their families. The pride people take in their families, they tend to wear in their jewelry the most, I would say. And then their clothing potentially, but crystals representing family is very important and has been for a long time. So, I mean, gosh, go to any museum where they've stolen a bunch of jewelry from the past and they put them in these beautiful displays. And it's like, whose mom gave them that? Was that their birthstone? How many generations did this piece get passed down to? Was this handmade for them for this particular wedding by their spouse? Like the history of jewelry is almost, you can't pick it up unless you are an intuitive. And then people believe you are not really, but the way that they've sterilized crystals and jewelry in general, especially in museums, because I've been to a bunch, because that was one of the things I went in there to go grid work and find was the memories and the light that was in these gemstones and crystals that had been taken from these ancient sites and royal families. I went in there specifically to grab the consciousness and information out of this jewelry. And I didn't even have the full intuitive abilities that I have now, where I would have been getting visions and information. It was more like just drink it in and you'll use this later. And I have. So what are your guys' crystals? And do you own any of this? Do you wear these crystals on you guys? Do you use their power for your own astrology? And think about it. You can make your own self an own pendant of your sun, moon, and rising months, for example, your top 3. I don't know if companies do that already, but you could do that again with those companies that make those rings for your mom or your family jewels. Just make one for yourself with your top 3, or even your top, like all of your inner planets. Do one with all of the planets, get creative with it, embody it. And astrology also goes with the body. So you could put it on the part of your body that is correlating as well. And we did that last year's. We talked about the astrology of the body and that system, which you can quickly Google right now if you want to get a refresher on. Maybe we can do that at the end if you guys ask. But is ruby the root chakra? Well, it could be. I mean, it could represent it if you wanted to. Yes. Okay, so spades. Yeah, exactly. So tarot system and playing card housing system, those systems overlap because there's 4 in each. So there's corresponding. So spades is air. Thank you, Queen Victor. So that's 3 of air, 3 of swords, which is about, I want to say, the 3 of swords is kind of about conflict and relationships that conflict, information that conflicts with the heart. And so your heart may be more mature than other people's because it's dealt with and can navigate through conflict better. It might be your skill. Sapphire, beautiful, very nice. We love opal. You've inspired me to wear garnet after what you said in my last video. Yes, so we did a live stream where I was doing readings from my daily crystal inspirational deck here for people to get what crystals they may want to engage with too. So just at a random time, not based off of your chart, but just intuitively, like what was going to come through. So yeah, maybe get this deck, the Daily Crystal Inspiration, or any deck that has pictures of crystals in it. Doesn't matter. I would get multiple. This one has 52 different crystals in here. Um, Maybe there's a deck where there's ones I don't have, which would be cool, but there'd be a lot of overlap, but not the same descriptors or so on, whatever. The crystal realm has a ton of potential for us. And I was getting into that more this month as well. Kind of like, hey, remember the crystals, they're the smart, their intelligence embodied in like, they're so cool. Like the physics of crystals, so cool. Blue topaz or lapis lazuli, fantastic crystals also. We love that. So let's move into the next system on our workshop here. Whoops. Here we go. Here we go. So crystals of the zodiac, like I said, we're moving forward. So we've moved on to a different website. It's called crystalvaults.com. Vault as in bank vault, crystalvault.com, and then /zodiac dash crystals is the website I'm on technically. And so this is a more comprehensive list. So for your zodiac, you're going to learn the symbol, the sign, the ruling planet, the constellation, the personality traits, the crystals and stones, the compatibility, your tarot card also, which we kind of already did. We did your cards of life, but tarot card, another step. Your flower, like I was mentioning earlier, your modality in lore and legend. So this website's awesome if you want to get that information for your particular zodiac. Let's go. Let's pick one. So we're in September. We're in Virgo mode right now for a couple more days. Okay. We're inching into Libra life, but we're in Virgo mode right now. So let's click on Virgo. Let's feel what energies we're all in right now. Okay. So the tarot card for Virgo is the Hermit card. The stone on this website mentions carnelian, sapphire. So this is more than just sapphire. Carnelian, sapphire, garnet, moss agate, amethyst, and red jasper. So we've got a bunch here. Like crystal world, usually it's more the merrier. Instead of like let's specify, it's usually like let's play with multiples. So the zodiac modality, okay, so we're in a mutable energy right now. So it's not super in your face. It's a mutable energy. Virgos are most compatible with Pisces and Cancers, the water signs of Pisces and Cancer. The flower for Virgo are buttercup and chrysanthemums. Now, try and spell chrysanthemums, or even if you didn't know that this word said the word chrysanthemum, you may have been like, what the heck? What a complicated word. A lot of the flowers actually have some pretty high vocab level words, high. What is that? They got like a high score on, what is that, like Scrabble or something, where you like count up the points per tile. It's a good one. Decent long word. It's associated with the sixth house, mansions of the moon, which I don't know that system. Mansions of the moon. Maybe that'll be next year. We'll talk about mansions of the moon because I actually don't know what that means. I rarely see that around. So getting specific. Ruling planet of this earth sign Virgo is Mercury. Virgo constellation is supposed to be the Virgin, or a beautiful woman, basically. Also potentially holding some wheat or some sort of harvested grain, basically, because this is the time of when we start harvesting our gardens here in the Northern Hemisphere, at least, which is more so Western astrology. Virgo personality, for example, Virgo may be the most careful and maybe more timid, less risk-taking of these signs. They want to be of service. They want to do things right. and they want their bases covered. So they want their coffee. They want their specific organic raw milk fresh. You know what I mean? They want these things and they just get them. They want them and they get them, and it's matter of fact with them. It's not like, well, they don't even consider having something that they do not want. It's not considered. There's very little compromising energy when it comes to Virgos, in my opinion, which I don't think is written about a lot, but maybe it is. But don't mess with a Virgo. They're gonna make sure it's the way they want it done. They're pure about it. So this is just Virgo. Here they are, a carnelian. Here's some blue sapphire. Girl, I would love some sapphire. If you guys have some spare sapphire just kicking around, I have a P.O. box. I'll adopt your sapphire. I don't have any, but I would love to engage with it just for the sake of the starseed community and the children in specific, and like that frequency bandwidth which was even out of reach almost for Dolores Cannon, which to me was like a big bell, like ding ding ding, when I heard an interview when she was still alive, someone being like, "Hey, have you heard of the Sapphire Children? I'm channeling them a lot lately in my works in the QHHT sessions." And Dolores was basically like, "Nah." I've seen lots of colors and lots of peoples, but not, and she didn't have a specific story or relatable thing for Sapphire. And that just hit me. It was like ding, 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 ding. Like, here it comes. Here's something new, and Dolores has now moved on into the spirit world. She probably has a better understanding of that. Maybe she's even guiding this moment right now, because she's been in my field last 2 days, especially as a guide for me and my mother. She's a guide to many, many, many people. If you guys haven't read her books, Convoluted Universe, I haven't read her books either, but I bought all her books for my mom to read, because my mom's the reader. Through some of the first money I ever made went towards that. So before Dolores moved on. So I know Dolores got some of my first dollars I ever made, and it went to enriching my mom's spiritual journey, and in turn my own. So all that being said, that's very Virgo energy also, to do what I'm saying and have this situation come up. So that's very Virgo of me to do that and to be having this chit chat with you about this. So, like I said, all the other systems are here. Libra next, for example, Libra is a cardinal energy, a little bit more forward. This is a leader. So we're moving into immutable, more passive, isn't going to take the helm and lead too hard, I would say, but Libras will, in a way. They will, and they'll do it with class. You won't even quite notice how skillfully they're going to do this in your life, but they are going to lead you, Libras. They're about justice. This is the Justice card, and they're compatible with the other air signs, Gemini, and the other fire signs, basically. Not as much Aries. That's our opposite of Libra, is Aries. So usually you don't chill or vibe as hard with your opposite in the zodiac, but your fellows in the element that you're in. So like I said, Libra air, Gemini, Aquarius air, but also air instigates fire. So the more mature fire signs, Leo and Sagittarius, we tend to have a mutual understanding of our goals. The flower for Libra is roses. Beautiful, my favorite. And 7th house. So we've got Venusian energy. We're moving into a whole different planet, from Mercury ruled September to Venusian ruled October, or late September into October. It's going to be a different vibe for sure. So check out, it's the goddess of love, basically Aphrodite, from the goddess, or the god goddess, I should say. All of the planets, I want to say god goddess too, really. So the god goddess of Mercury is communication, and Hermes, or Thoth, communicator, the writer, pretty much any sort of system where there is a god that does any sort of recording or writing or communication, usually connected to Mercurian energy. Why? Because they're the closest one to the sun. They're the closest one to the source of information. So they're going to be the messenger of that information naturally. It's going through them basically to reach the rest of the planets and all of us in the solar system. But the next planet it goes into is Venus, Aphrodite, and it beautifies, in a way, the information. it brings this golden energy to it too. So let's move on to, did you guys look? Let's see. I'm just going to check on you guys. We're doing workshop movements over here. We've got some rubies in the building here. Beautiful. Hey, welcome in. If you're late, doesn't matter. Just hop in and enjoy the workshop. Sylvia Brown was my first psychic friend. Some say that she was a fraud. Oh, I'm unfamiliar with who you're talking about. So sorry. No offense to anybody in that case. I don't have opinions. So, but that does happen. And some people are taught by frauds and they only know the fraud lifestyle. Some magicians are taught by magicians and they only know how to be a magician. There's magicians and then there's, the actual magic folk. And in the Harry Potter system, that's the muggles and the witches and wizards world. Two separate worlds. And yeah, they really are. They are two separate worlds. They're coming from two separate motivations. So when you meet a person who's doing these sort of things, that's for you to judge. Are they a magician? Which means are they a muggle? Or are they a wizard? Are they tapping into the magic of it all? Two totally different bodies and thought. And there's so many ways to do that just by looking at people, but I'm not going to get into that right now. What we're going to get into is the next system that I want you to connect with your astrology and your zodiac, which is the archangel system. Now, when you translate our archangel, it translates to chief angel. So these are the leaders, the chiefs. If chief makes more sense to you in your own language and your own biology, your DNA, that probably helps. It helped me to know that. It means chief angel. Now, we went into angels a little bit this month already through my Telegram, on my Instagram. We went into it a little bit, especially when the debate was going to happen, because that's when, guess who was going to be showing up? The chiefs were showing up. And one in particular for, not for this month, but one in particular for that situation did step forward, Uriel. And so when it comes to the debates and the politics, I would say watch for signs of Uriel, because it seems to be kicking around. So this system here that I'm showing you on the screen is just very basic for you to know right off the bat. What system are you in with the archangels? Just for fun. So based off of your zodiac. So for me, like I said, I'm the 7th. I'm 7th house. It's Libra 7th house information. And I would connect with the archangel Jophiel. Look up archangels, by the way, in Wikipedia, and look at all the different religious systems other than Abrahamic as well. So outside of Abrahamic religions, there's also some talk of these angelic chiefs or these head angels, and stories about them and lore about them, which gets harder and harder to find as we modernize. The victors write the history, right? So systems that didn't want to cooperate with the victors that are writing this history for us are being lost because there just wasn't a cooperation reached. So there's plenty of information out there, but I would say open your mind to the understanding that multiple religions are teaching children and people who are unawares about specific and different archangels based off of what religion it is. And so keep an eye on which ones are most popular. Keep an eye on which ones are being taken out of some of the text, replaced in some of the texts. It's fascinating. But if you want to have a personal relationship with the archangels, that's totally up to you. You totally can. And you can just talk to them, be like, hey, I want a personal relationship and understanding of all the archangels, aside from any sort of structures of knowledge, just me one-on-one with the truth of the universe. I invite the archangels to, introduce themselves to me, show me how we could cooperate together, how we can utilize each other's energy best, That's how I've approached most of my spirituality. It's just like one-on-one with these energies and seeing how they show up and where they show up and where they seem to be most relevant. That's the more gentle way, I would say, of doing spirituality instead of a religion sort of being that intermediary between you and these aspects of nature, basically. So tell me which archangel you're connected to based off of your sign. I just want to see which archangels are here. And this list, is it perfect? I don't think so. It's not perfect. This is definitely for fun. And if you feel connections with certain archangels, definitely look into that more, check into their lore, see where they arrived in the lore. Like, for example, Metatron is one that's kind of an iffy one, and it arrives into the lore through the Book of Enoch, which is an interesting arrival culturally, shoving itself into the narrative that it's now being kind of told, like the storytelling that happens in religious sermons and religion in general, and trying to make these books in some sort of chronological order is not really actually what's going on. It's not chronological. It's a mess. Honestly, it's a mess. Like, the religious texts and any sort of through fair knowledge just doesn't seem to be quite there. I'll be honest with you, with religious studies. And I know people go into school and they try and get all that data and information and do their best to find those through lines in theology. And I invite them to do so, because there's knowledge everywhere, there's wisdom everywhere. So wherever you study, you're going to learn something. You're going to become wiser, in my opinion. But that's like the game of it, is religious and theological studies, is the game of finding that truth and learning what it is, because they want to, I would say a lot of people want to find these truths and then lord them over other people and prove some sort of point. Academics can be like that. Academics are a lot more like lawyers, and they want to argue a lot of the time, I've noticed. So just keep that in mind, that this is a more playful one. You don't have to argue with me on this system. And you may look up archangel, zodiac, and you may find a totally different image, totally different interpretation of this. This one was more so for fun, but I'm just trying to show you that this is out there. And I also want you to know that I'm not so keen on the Book of Enoch, I guess, and how it kind of inserted itself into the narrative. It just didn't hit. You know what I mean? Didn't hit for me. It didn't resonate the same way. It just felt like, whoopsie, like oh, wow, like, wow, they really took this and ran with it kind of energy. And that kind of messed up a lot of stuff and kind of diluted a few of the systems of of what's supposed to be talked about. And another big one of those that came in as well before I continue was the Prophet Mormon, uh, Joseph Smith, and the creation of the Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints Church, and that sort of reaction to that information. And I believe it was in the Law of One, or at least in that same group of people who are channeling that information, was mentioning that it's like the don't shoot the messenger kind of energy. It's like the messenger of what was happening in that situation, you know, was more legit. But then what happened after, from the message was received by society, and then what was formed in society as a response to that message was the church and was this religion. And that doesn't reflect directly what the message was trying to do. And this is a very common situation that's happening, is like, once you begin to bring something into society just like it makes it in its likeness instead of integrating something new. It's like it wants to create a layer of society around it instead of allowing society to be galvanized by this new information, if that makes sense. So here we go. We see Houdini was one of my first influences as a child, the ultimate magician. And yeah, a case can be made that Houdini was tapping into more than just magicianry and smoke and mirrors and, special effects. There was more going on with him. with the occult. And yeah, so a lot of these beings, some of them didn't get mixed up in the occult. Totally great. Some of them do totally by accident, and that's a problem. So that happens a lot. Ariel we have Ariel, Archangel Ariel here. We have Azrael here. Very cool. Interesting background. Where is Michael? Oh, great question. Michael's not even on this list. So, hey, maybe we could look up and see if there's a different list. Is Michael on this one? Nope, that looks the same. Michael's just the boss of everybody, so maybe he doesn't get to be anyone's specific angel. Oh, there it is in Leo. So in this is see, I told you. So this is kind of a more for fun one. The system says that Archangel Michael is in the sign of Leo, for example. And then there's some systems use these angels. Some names are more common over here. There's more than 12 names that have come through in the humans trying to name these archangels, which is kind of silly because an angel probably doesn't actually need a name, if we're being honest. And a lot of these higher dimensional beings that get channeled, they're like, I don't really have a name, but you can kind of call me this. WikiHow even has an article on it. I didn't even realize I clicked a WikiHow article. Who's your archangel? See, these articles are more annoying. I liked that one because it was a little more condensed. But there you go. There is a system there. Some people are using it. It's fun. It's for fun. So the archangel one, don't take that one as seriously, but it could help. It could help a little bit, perhaps. So now we're going to up our game a little bit. We're going to go into a system called human design. I'm going to tell you how this happened, how human design got formed. It was through this dude who calls himself publicly Ra Uru Hu, which is very much how beings speak when they learn sound complexes and what they actually represent. So sound complex of the color blue and the feeling and frequency of this. So I want that in my name. For example, like it's a little bit of a different classification system. And I noticed that people who are starseeds usually end up remembering and using these systems to refer to themselves more. Very common, I've noticed. So homie was born the name Alan, okay, in Montreal, Canada, back in 1948. This guy, who now is the founder and the messenger of the human design system. Okay, so in 1987 in Ibiza, Spain, this person had a mystical experience where they basically, in my opinion, probably tapped into their higher self for the first time. But they called it the voice, this intelligence that was superior to theirs, and began downloading and transmissioning this system of reading astrology and the I Ching, basically mixing the I Ching and astrology. So it says, I Ching, the foundation which human design rests, and the key to unlock the code of our genetics. So this is even deeper into your genetic code. The oldest of the Chinese classic texts, the I Ching, or Book of Changes, is an ancient divination tool used for over 3,000 years. Probably, yeah, over for sure. Ra dedicated the next 25 years of his life from 1987 to develop this system. Okay, so here is his chart, for example, and this is the basics of what you would see when you get your human design chart done. So you can do this on jovianarchive.com. Jovian, jovianarchive.com. And so you can get your chart for free. Now, this isn't the only website you can do this. You can get your human design chart multiple places. You may want to try a couple because some will give you more data than others. You have to give your email most of the time, but Most of us have a junk email that we can use for these types of occasions, I want to say. Oh, my neck is locking up. I sit on an exercise ball. If you guys see me bouncing around and rolling around, and it's because I have to sit on an exercise ball because my spine's a little more serpentine than other people's spines, and that's just going to be, I'll leave that where it is, but it helps to have the exercise ball, keeps all of my muscles strong and balancing and kind of keeping my spine in a nice, healthy position. Even though I'm kind of a wormy, squirmy shape, the exercise ball helps me last longer in a sitting position for sure. When I worked in a cubicle, I brought in the exercise ball as my chair. I was like, I need this for my spine, basically. And nobody argued with me. They actually all got themselves balls too. And they all started losing weight. Their depression was going away. They were eating healthier. They had better conductivity. Their lymphatic system was processing better. You know what I mean? It's good vibes. So this kind of looks like a lymphatic system image here, which is kind of funny. And probably is connected if I have dived deeper. So basically, human design is something that came into my life. I was given a textbook even of the human design, all the types that you can be. And I can read them out. I can do your chart and look deeper in the book. And if you're interested in one of those readings with me, I'd be happy to do that as a part of, regular one-on-one reading. Just tell me that you want to do that in our reading and I'll do it for us. And we'll look into it and I'll grab your chart and we'll read into and I'll walk you through the system a little more. The basics. I am not a pro at this system. I'm not a pro at any astrology. And like I said, I'm a psychic medium. So I'm supposed to have a, I'm supposed to work on my knowledge in many, many realms over time. And that's what the guardian training is about too, is to encourage me to keep re-upping, learning about these systems and learn a little more, at least once a year about all these different topics that I find super important to aligning again my chakras and my lymph, honestly. So this is Homie's system. This is what they look like. We have unconscious and conscious astrology as well in it. And that's one thing I haven't learned fully yet. I only know about the conscious stuff. So in the system, it actually takes into account, I believe it was the time you were kind of conceived, I believe, or maybe it was halfway before you were born. I don't even remember all the way, but this system's interesting because unlike that quote I read at the beginning about not being able to, even with astrology, it's really hard to know what's going to happen in the future. But with astrology, you can at least get a little bit of an insight about what may happen in your future. And we're going to get into that in the next system I'm going to bring to you. But looking back and checking back and reviewing your life and what you've gone through makes a lot more sense with astrological information as well. So here's what the basic chart looks like. And here are the systems basically that it breaks it down into, which is beautiful. This is on their homepage of their website. So if you just go to jovianarchive.com, this is where you're going to start and you're going to go through all this information. Page 1 is why human design, and then what human design, how does the system work? This is funny because it actually discusses neutrinos are the major system that this is concerning, and what the neutrinos are doing when you were being born as well, and integrating into you, and you were integrating neutrinos. Basically, you were collecting as a bundle of neutrinos. But yeah, the neutrinos pass through us. 100 trillion neutrinos pass through our body every second. It's pretty much the ether, I'm pretty sure. Neutrinos, ether, it's kind of like the same deal in my brain, but that's not an official human design opinion, I don't think. But it says neutrinos are an unusual particle that carry an infinitesimal amount of mass, about 3 trillion neutrinos, and the material information they carry pass through every square inch of the planet per second. Our sun produces about 70% of all the neutrinos that are passing through our solar system, with the remaining 30% emitted by other stars in our galaxy, and a small amount from the planet Jupiter. which is interesting and also been coming up a lot. So I didn't actually know that about neutrinos, that Jupiter has the whatever it is to make them, which is cool. A very interesting note. So in 2015, the scientists, okay, hold on one sec. There was a Nobel Prize awarded for the discovery of neutrino oscillations in 2015 to show that they have mass. And then this guy for human design published this as the science behind. He was already picking up on neutrinos and integrating them into the system back in 1991. So we didn't publicly even give any recognition, it looks like, to neutrinos in science until 2015. And this guy was picking up on it from 1991. And I remember the story being that he felt like he was impacted by a packet of neutrinos from a dying star system. And that's how he got this information for this system of astrology and of the body and healing and so on, like we've been talking about. So, yeah, here he is. It doesn't even mention that part, which is funny. He talks about the voice, which is interesting. So here's a little bit more into it. You can see here that the I Ching is on the outer circle, the Western zodiac, inner circle, the paths of the Kabbalah are inside and of the body. And we have where's the hexagram? The hexagram is also around the outside here, and the chakras are inside as part of these paths of the Kabbalah. So this is the body graph. This is the system that makes the most sense to me when I look at people's charts. This is what I'm after. As I'm trying to see here what of these chakras, because these are all considered chakras in your body here. This particular system, when you get your chart, this will populate. You're going to see a little dude, a little person with all of these either empty or full squares and empty and full paths between them. And my book defines all these chakras and it defines all these pathways. So it's nice to have the book, but you can find all this info online. And if you pay for a chart, obviously it'll give you all this info too. So it may be like $15, but get your human design chart, read through all that sucker, and learn the basics of who you are for conversation and dig in deeper and deeper and deeper of all these pathways between your chakras, because they all mean something. They all mean we can either push an electrical charge through those two chakras and get those two to work together directly, or do you need someone who has that in their body to come into your field to get that to happen, basically. So your body and all their pathways and all their chakras are going to be on and off in all different ways based off of your astrology. They whittle that down and put it into your body system. You'll know which ones are on, you'll know which ones are off. The ones that are on mean that you are expressing that particular strength, and you will express that onto somebody and take over that in their body if that particular thing is empty in their chart. Does that make sense? So with your spouses and your parents and your kids, so helpful to know what other people's, body and all their chakras lit up and connected in certain ways, their configuration of the stars, how it's going to impression your body. It may rush you. It may stress you out. It may metamorph you. You know what I mean? You may have these very interesting shifts and abilities. One super basic one. Now, if you do your sidereal human design and then your tropical human design, those two charts are going to be different. It's very interesting to compare those two. So if you're familiar with sidereal, that's more of the eastern side, and it's going to be slightly off. The timing is going to be slightly off. So all your astrology chart's going to look totally different, but just off by like one sign pretty much in all your stuff. The timing that they use is just slightly different based off of the precession of the equinoxes. One system uses it, one system considers it, one system doesn't. So the timing's a little off, but it's never crazy off. You're usually a mix between those two signs because you lay between those 2 months. So it's kind of normal. So you kind of have those qualities. Seasonally, it still makes sense seasonally, whatever system you use. Seasonally, like you're a fall child, you're born in fall time, you're likely going to be a little more like this versus a summer child, for example. It's a little more basic. But anyways, um, whatever system you believe in most, sidereal or tropical, you can plug that in. This system will give you tropical, but you can do sidereal, human design calculators. Those are online. Anyways, if you have your heart, which I'm pretty sure is the middle one here, but it could be that's your solar plexus. But either way, I read this. But if you have your heart defined, they call it defined. If it's colored in, they call it defined. If your heart is defined, you will be plowing through life doing your thing, your dream, your goal. Our 45th president of the United States, he was in my textbook as well before he was president, and I got a textbook all about his human design. His heart is defined. And this is a rare thing to happen. Not a lot of people's hearts are actually defined. They're actually undefined, which means their hearts are actually receptive to the hearts in the room and the goals and the dreams in the room. But when you're in the room with somebody with a defined heart, you are likely going to be magnetically drawn into whatever it is their goal and their mission and their dream is. I have a dream. You know what I mean? There's just those magnetic people out there who you're like, you know what? They've got this. They know this. That's their heart. You can feel their heart. You can feel that they're coming from their heart and their heart is strong, unmovable, you know? That's a defined heart. So you may just be able to see people in public and be like, I bet you they have a defined heart, for example. And you can learn this about each of the chakras, defined, what it means, and so on. It's really fun, actually. It's fun to learn personality versus design. That's interesting. Personality is calculated at the moment of your birth. So that's more astrologically, this is what the system a lot of people actually use more and talk about more is the personality version, the conscious version of yourself. And then there's the design version of you, which is the 89 days approximately before you're born, which is the nature of unconscious. It's kind of when they believe that, or it's calculated 88 degrees of the sun are approximately 89 days before the moment you're born. Like I said, remember I was mentioning that? So they have a piece as well that they calculate for everybody. Knowing your birthday, they can go back 89 days and get this unconscious biogenetic inheritance information from you as well. Like, isn't that fascinating? So they mix this information on your chart. So the personality stuff in the pathways is going to look as it's going to show up as black information. This is the conscious self. And then the unconscious pathways are showing up in red in this system. And sometimes they'll overlap. So you'll have an unconscious and conscious overlapping in your chart, which is really helpful because at least you know in that skill, you've got it down. In your unconscious and your unconscious behaviors, you're going to act like this. You know what I mean? So it helps. We've got open or defined versus undefined. I already talked to you guys about that. We've got the 9 centers. So here we go. This is the 9 centers, either defined or undefined. These are the 9 centers that this system focuses on in your chakras. So we've got the head or your crown, basically your crown or the head at the top, which is a pressure center and a part of inspiration. The anja or the third eye area is your awareness center and your conceptualization. Then they do the throat, manifesting, speaking, doing. Then we've got the G, which is interesting, but it's kind of like the center of your body, the self-love, the direction. Then we've got the heart, which is this one on the side, actually. Motor center, ego, willpower, your willpower we were talking about. Your spleen, which is a funny one. This one shows up in Not a lot of people talk about your spleen for any other reason, honestly, than I've noticed human design really brings the spleen into central focus for a lot of people. If you're a splenic or you're not splenic, we'll get into that in a second. But spleen is about awareness, immune system, intuition. Then your solar plexus is in this system, motor and awareness, emotions. Your sacral is here in the center here, your motor center, life force, sexuality, and your root, pressure, and your motorizing, your mobilization, and your adrenaline. So, for example, if your root chakra is defined, you may be a little bit more of an overall kind of your stress is what stresses you out the most. You're not as much of a maybe as empathically stressed out by other people. You've got your own thing going on and you got pressure on yourself, the stress and adrenaline on yourself more so than being influenced by other people's stress and pressure. For example, same with your head. A lot of psychic intuitives I've noticed may have an empty head or they have undefined uh, crown or head and anja or third eye chakras. They've undefined, which allows, again, when they get into your third eye and your head area, they're going to immediately be absorbing that information. So they makes them a good psychic as well, which is cool. So you may be one of those people, or you may be around someone who isn't defined with their throat, but you're defined. So you may be speaking for someone on their behalf a lot. And it may be for that reason too. And we pair up with people who help us with our weaknesses and our strengths based off of these compatibilities and these definitions of these centers I've noticed. So a little bit more the 9 centers. Okay, open center, the not self themes. So these are issues you can have in these areas. So in your head, you can think about things that don't matter. You can fuss over thoughts and things that are inefficient. They don't matter to you in your path, but you're, I don't know, maybe a little addicted to dopamine or adrenaline, and you're really like enjoying thinking about stuff too much. You're overthinking. Pretending to be certain when you're not, like you have a third eye vision and be like, oh yeah, I know, I have a feeling, but you're not actually sure. You may not be sure easily on things if you have an undefined third eye, for example. Throat undefined, you're not trying to attract attention to yourself. The G undefined, you're fixated on finding love and direction. So if it's undefined, it's like you're trying to fill that hole basically. If you're trying to find love and find direction, you're basically trying to find somebody who's aligned in that area, who has it filled up, defined, so you can feel that wholeness, I would say, in yourself. In your heart, you're asking if you have to prove, if something to prove, if you have something to prove. So think about yourself. Maybe these are some of the problems you have, and it may just be literally your human design. And you'll see when you pull your chart, you'll be like, man, I'm always trying to prove myself to people. You may have an undefined heart. Man, I'm always trying to hold on and do stuff that I know is bad for me because I have a hard time letting go of these vices or these poisons. Even like if you just love drinking Fireball, but it's like, babe, no, please, no. Like you're only allowed to drink Fireball like once by accident, and then when you're like underage and your body's still like growing, and so like you can recover from drinking poison, but don't keep doing it. You know what I mean? Same with ramen, you know, microwaved food, those sort of things. You could get away with it when you were young and you're naive, but it's like, don't keep doing that stuff when you know better. When you know better, do better. Because when you know better, your subconscious knows better, and then it'll know you're doing something to hurt it, and it'll know you're hurting it. Your subconscious will know you're doing something bad for it, and it'll show up and it'll push back. You'll start to degrade basically. So yeah, what else do we have on here? Solar plexus, avoiding confrontation and truth. I don't know if that one's undefined for me, but I definitely struggle with that. Sacral, not knowing when enough is enough. Again, all of these are empty holes. We're talking about the emptiness. If this is empty in you, this is what it'll show up as. But I don't think there's anybody in the world who's completely empty like this with their astrology. And the root's emptiness is always in a hurry to be free and to be free of the pressure of society and of life, always trying to always trying to graduate, always trying to retire. Hurriedness is the devil. So if something's telling you to rush and hurry and it's making you scared, if it's coming from fear, then you know you're not quite doing it right. If you're motivated and you know what's right, you won't be in fear. You'll be in motivation. You'll be in bliss. You'll be in euphoria. You'll be like, I got to do this now and it feels right. You won't be thinking either. You'll be doing. So yeah, here we go. The channels. So the pathways between all of these organs and all of these chakras, these centers, the channels, there's multiple channels between them. There's usually 3, potentially up to like, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 channels potentially between some of these. So there's a ton of connections and they all kind of mean something. And that's something you would look up. So that's what these little numbers help you do, is label what channel is defined and undefined in your chart. So when you run your chart, you're going to see all these little lit up channels. Some of them are empty, some of them are not. But for example, you see one lit up, you want to look up what it means. So channel 25 to 51 is what you'd look up. 25 to 51, because they're all different numbers. So you're not going to mix up any of these. All the channels are different numbers. So you're good. It's only going to be one of those. There's only going to be one 25 to 51 situation. And yeah, you look that up. Look up what that potentially means for you. It's a little bit more of the intimacy of your chart. So once you deal with the defined or undefined centers, that's the big one. And then the channels is you can dig in a little closer and get a little bit more detail about the complexities between these. I'm not going to go into this one. Not going to go into this one. We're going to skip those 2 things because it's a little more advanced. Not a lot of people use that part anyways when they're just socially talking about this. And a lot of this workshop is social education, honestly. The 4 types. So this is going to be your number 1. So you're going to run your chart. You're going to get your little dude with all your lit up squares or whatever. But it's going to tell you what your type is. And there's only 4. And this is the social aspect. This is what you would need to know when you're meeting some other random person in Sedona and you're like, oh my gosh, hi, what's your name? What's your type? Do you know your human design? That's the conversation. Do you know your human design? And the person says, oh yes, I'm a generator. That's like the first thing. And then there's another specifier layer after that, which we'll get into in a second. But you need to know this first. You need to know if you're a manifester, a generator, a manifesting generator, which is a combo of those 2, and then a projector and a reflector. It's interesting here. They're actually combining generator and manifesting generator into one, which my book didn't do that, which was interesting. So whatever, not a big deal. There is stark differences between these 4 types of people, 5 types of people. The generators are the highest population of people. Like I'm saying, it says right here, 70% of people are going to come up as a generator, which is good. You're going to like that because a generator has the energy to get things made and done and created. They are making things happen, They're the people who can get up and go to work, you know what I mean? And get that job done. They are the generators. We need that. Most of society is able to do that. So the strategy of a generator is to respond. So basically this task needs to be done. Okay, I will respond to that task. I will respond to that situation. You have the energy to respond to something in the environment. The aura of a generator is open. It's enveloping. The signature is satisfaction. The not self theme is frustration. So generators can get frustrated, especially if there's something in their way between them and getting the task that they're trying to respond to done. That's the worst. So I feel for you, generators. I'm a manifesting generator. So we'll get into that in a second. So projectors are next on the list. 20% of you guys are projectors. You're supposed to wait, not respond. You're supposed to wait for someone to invite you. So again, this is someone calling you being like, can you help me make a conference? And you go, okay. And you You go, I'll make the best conference you've ever seen, basically. Just stay out of my way. But a projector will often walk around in the world and they'll go, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. And they may offer their services or support, and they're going to be rejected for their help. And usually because the person is embarrassed and they don't want to be shown up, basically, because a projector is going to know usually the best way to do something. And the best way someone else is going to, they're great managers. They're like, this person's really good at this, and I want them to be doing that. They're going to delegate people to do things because they know what people are best at. Projectors do projects, okay? And they wait for the invitation to do that project. So it's like, hey, listen, I need somebody to clean up the oceans. And I think you're the one for the job. And I'm going to give you full, you're going to be the head person of this project. I want you to hire people to do this. And you know that projector is going to get that done. They're focused, they're absorbed, or they're absorbing information. They're observing, they're taking in the details. They're not going to oversee. There's not going to be as much oversight, I would say. They're going to take care of those little things too. And they're not self, or the issue they deal with is bitterness. Especially when people don't recognize them for their genius or appreciate all their hard work, they'll get bitter. It's hard not to get bitter, but if you know that every input you give to this earth is for the grand scheme of, like, the grand mission of lifting the vibration of earth and humanity, then all of your efforts, they'll just be thrown into the pile of the planet instead of this person's, life. It's like, no, these efforts were free, maybe for your project, but they were for the whole world. And it will help you kind of be less bitter. It's not just, we appreciate you, projectors. Don't be bitter. We appreciate you and everything you're doing, so keep doing it. We've got manifestors next. 9% of the population, smaller amount. Their strategy is to inform people. So this may be an unsolicited advice person in your life, potentially a manifester. Someone who doesn't actually maybe get off their butt and do the things they're telling you should do, but they've got great ideas, and they'll boss you around. They'll tell you what you should be doing. Their aura is more closed. They're not really receiving. They're repelling you, actually. These guys are the introverts. These are the people who stay in their house. They want peace, and their not self theme is anger. So they're easy to anger. They're easier to piss off. The manifestors they'll get mad if you don't appreciate what they're informing you about. The reflectors are the rarest of the rare. They're the ones, like I said, they're the ones who, look at them like this. They are the ones without defined chakras or whatever in the system. I totally forgot about this, but this is true. So these are the systems of what it looks like. Generators, all their lower chakras are lit up for the most part. Generators can look either one of these ways, their chart. A projector has most of their chart lit up pretty much except for their sacral, which is interesting. So that's why they need to be invited. In a way, it's almost a sexual energy. It's like we got to pull you in. Basically, we've got to stimulate or inform almost your sexual creative energy about what it needs to be creating. And then manifestors, they've got an interesting roundabout highlight here where their hearts are, and their solar plexus and their spleen know what to do. Their root knows what to do. Their throat knows what to do. But they may be looking for, like I said, that G is not highlighted. So they may have like a hole in themselves, and they want to be with other people, and their head is not defined. So they're not, in a way, they're more so channeling the universe through their empty head. So the information they're getting may not even be populated out of their own thoughts. And then reflectors, they're not thinking, they're not wanting, they're not doing anything. You know what I mean? The 1% of the population, they wait for the lunar cycle. They're kind of just being moved around by the moon. And so full moon, you're getting stuff done, and new moon, you're shedding and hibernating in a way. Your aura is about being you're resistant and you're sampling the world. So usually the reflector is somebody who's just going to walk away. You can't rely on them to really do anything, but they're there. You know what I mean? And they're walking around, they're seeing stuff. You know that they've got something going on, but you're not even sure what's going on in that head of theirs. And they don't even really know. Like they're here to sample. They're the newer souls, probably more so. They're just kind of sampling what it's like to be an earthling and figuring that out. But yeah, wait a full moon cycle before making a decision. So you basically have to wait a whole moon cycle. For women, this is easier to do because it's like, oh, you know, you'll feel differently after your next period about this probably. But for men, you're just going to have to wait a month. And, when you're really not sure about something and you can sit on it for a whole month. This is what reflectors do. They take their time. So if you have your child as a reflector, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be able to get any sort of productive stuff out of that kid. And just let that be known. Like, it's okay. It's okay. And as a parent, it's hard because you want to produce children that are productive most of the time, unless your parent's a reflector. They may understand. But if you're like, oh, this kid's not making, doing, reacting, they don't do things quickly. They wait a whole month to make a decision or make a change in their behaviors, it's okay. Like, let the reflectors be them. You know what I mean? I know that's so vague, but maybe a reflector might be somebody who lives on their own their life and they're sampling this world, and maybe even maybe end up on the spectrum more so too, like, and maybe needing support through their life while they kind of observe life. They may need someone who is a little more engaged and grounded and busy doing life to live with and float around. If I say that lovingly, and I do, I say that lovingly. Okay, let's see what else we need here. So the profile is another part of your human design that's really popular for people to talk about. So they'll be like, "Hi, I'm a manifester and my profile is number 1 3, for example." This is just the language. I'm just using language with you now. I'm going to explain it in a second. But there's 12 profiles. You could be one of these 12. And so I'm a manifesting generator with a 4 6 profile. Personally, I'm a 4 6. I'm pretty sure I think Jace is a 5 2. But anyways, you'll know usually you'll know their type and their profile. So you'll know, okay, my friend is a manifester and they're a 2 4 or whatever, or 6 2 manifester, which I do have a friend, 6 2 manifester. And then you can look that up and figure that out. So you'll know a little more detailing on them. So when you get your chart, look for your profile and look that up, what that means, basically. You'll be like, okay, I'm a manifester and I'm a 6 2. So let me just look that up. Let me look up what those things mean, read about that, learn about yourself more, and then, do the human design of all the people you love and live with and figure that out too. If you're easy, quick, and picking up on this system quick, like some of us have, and it's really helpful, honestly. It's really helpful to know what the other people are in your world. I've watched so many people just read their human design and cry because it is one of the most I want to say, deep deeply accurate systems. It helps so much. Like, I've seen people cry multiple times from doing their human design, and there's a lot to read about. When you get your chart, you're like, whoa, what is all this stuff? I've gone over about half of it with you briefly on what this is, but that's kind of where we were going to take today's workshop. I didn't want to, obviously, we've been on human design a little while. It deserves it. It deserves the time that I'm taking, for sure. It deserves so much more, but I want to give you this start. I want to give you a direction to go with this. And so, like I said, I'm a 4 6 manifesting generator. And then all of the channels in my body, which I've read, have also talked about the fact that I mutate a lot. I have a lot of mutation, and I have a lot of dynamic changes when it comes to moving as well. So living in different places and stuff like that. These sort of things are also involved. And you can learn about yourself with this system, which has been really fun for me personally and to get to know other people as well. And our mutual compatibilities, which I would love. So, dream scenario, you guys, is that we go through 2025 and then the newest trend is printing your human design chart on your shirt, front and back, and just seeing when you walk up to someone, seeing their actual chart on their body and seeing what is defined and undefined from the chakras right away. And then, the more channels and stuff you memorize, you really know a person right away when you see it on their shirt. That would be super fun, in my opinion. I think that would be really fun trend to we all just get our chart, get it printed locally at the t-shirt print shop or do it yourself with an iron on, at home, whatever. And if that just went super viral and trended and everybody was walking around with their human design on them, that would be such a fun year. Like that would be such a fun fashion trend. That would be so fun. So putting that out in the universe, maybe that'll happen. Oh, I see some people here. Tristan has showed up. Hey, what's up, Tristan? Jeremy showed up. Hey, nice to see you guys. Nice to see you, gentlemen. I met a girl recently who studied Sanskrit and was like, whoa, that's cool. Yeah, for real. That's fantastic. Ooh, we've got somebody in the room that studies Sanskrit. Fantastic. Keep it going. Let it live on. Maybe Michael's too busy slaying baddies. Agreed. Michael's very busy. Yes, the names are not names, but cymatics, and all of our names can be cymatics instead of names. Yeah, I am a manifesting generator. Thanks for asking. Sorry I didn't see your comment sooner. Sitting on an exercise ball is a great way to improve posture. Yeah, it's fantastic again for your lymph drainage, making sure it's draining through the day. We've got another person who's happy to catch a live. Fantastic. So nice to see you guys. Some of you guys I haven't even seen for lives ever. So that's so cool. I can't wait. Please hit the notification bell so we can do more lives. I'm going to do more. I have to do a big live stream tomorrow. Lots of codes. So I'd be happy to have you come back and chill with me tomorrow. I felt like a dragon breathing fire at the 35th District Courthouse. Just copped a big shungite, blue kyanite, and couple malachites and Herkimer diamonds. Fantastic. So we've got crystal heavy Nick over here. Fantastic. Using it for good. Is this human design? Yes. Yes, of course. Hey, Cynthia, nice to see you. Your profile is 5-1 generator. I don't know what that means. Well, thankfully, I know it's annoying, but you're going to have to use that handy dandy search engine in your phone. The one that the AI is now even helping us do even better and pull info off. Don't trust it all the way. Definitely check a few sources. But look it up. Just look up 5-1 generator and read about it. Read about it. Love yourself. It's like self-love practice to read about this stuff. It just feels so good. And man, if you were a kid and you had a parent who acknowledged and did your chart for you and read it to you and acknowledged those things with you, it would be life-changing because a parent who is aware of their child's human design is going to parent 1,000 times better, in my opinion, make way less even interpersonal karmic mistakes with that other soul. You're going to be able to communicate with them in their language, and they're going to learn how to communicate to you in your language by you knowing your chart and knowing how you like to be discussed and talked to. Do you need to be invited? Is your child a manifester? Please call this helpline today if your child is a manifester or a reflector or a projector. Generators, you're doing great. Just kidding. It's a joke, but these are the jokes we can make. And if you're aware of human design, maybe you laughed just now. Maybe. I'm studying to be a comedian across many, many, many different modalities here. So it's going to be great. Yes, interesting. Okay, what you just mentioned about adrenaline and stress being an overall condition when functioning mainly from the Muladhara chakra is an interesting thing, or the root chakra. Yes. I'm glad that that kind of sunk in. That's why we do these workshops. You're a reflector, so true. Okay, good. I have had a good friend who was a reflector, and we would just be like, "Where's Brian?" And he'd be like, "Oh, he wandered off into the woods, or he's like halfway up that mountain face next to us." And we're just gonna keep walking because honestly, he can't hear us, and he's not gonna come along until he's ready. You know, he's just he's just being an alien and observing, and he's just gonna soak it all in this life. So just let him. I'm a deflector, LOL. I think that's very funny. Okay, you just did your chart. You're a projector 4-6. Very cool. Was I 4-6 or 6-4? Now I'm trying to remember. Like 4-6. There isn't a 6-4. Oh no. That's good. Then you're good. We're good. Never mind. I'm still learning too. Like I look at mine all the time and review mine all the time, and I still have more to learn. It is tricky. Excellent. So Jeremy just did his. We've got a manifesting generator at 2-4 in the building. Very nice. We've got a 4-6 reflector. Alexis, I have so much gratitude for you. Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, dude. Awesome. I'm so glad that you're enjoying this. My mom brought this into my life. God bless my mother. She brought this in and was like, I was guided to buy this book. It's called Human Design. You go online, you get your chart. And this was way back. Like this was 2013, maybe 2014. I got this info. No one was doing it that I knew about at the time. And I kind of looked and was like, oh, not another thing to learn. Because I was already I was already learning a lot. And I was like, shoot. But I did mine. I did my family's charts and I got it. And it's just been over the years, like coming back to it, learning a little more, learning a little more, learning a little more. That's how I learn. I'm a slow learner overall. And which is why my YouTube channel is taking forever to do this space weather study, which I like. I take forever to do stuff and learn things, but I'm doing it thoroughly my way. And I was the same thing with cheerleading and learning choreography. It's just the way my brain does it. I'm not sure why, but it may be my human design with the pathways between my brain and my body potentially. But I need to watch people doing stuff a few times and then I need to sleep. And then I wake up and then it's like, and then it starts to make sense. But I was not good for dancing, dance choreography, where some of those people can watch someone do a dance like 2 8 counts, 3 8 counts, 4 of a dance and just pick it up right away. Pick it up in like an hour, even 20 minutes, 10 minutes, a couple tries, they pick it up. And I would watch the fellow cheerleaders, some of them who had more dance training, especially be able to do that around me at cheer camps and we're learning the new stuff. And I'd just be standing there like, because that was so not me. I could not do it like that. I would try. I would have to. I would try my very hardest to pick it up, but there's no hope for me until the day after for some reason. And then I'd be pretty okay. But that's just a fun little intake about me and how I learn. And that's why my channel looks like this. Maybe it's making sense. Like, why am I doing year after year the same theme in every month? Because that's how I learn personally. We've got a generator, a 1-4 generator in the building. Fantastic. We've got a projector in the building over here, orchestrator, projector. Very true. Good wording for that. I agree with that, if that's what you meant. Very good. Very good. So we're 2 hours into this workshop. We started at noon. I have a few more things I want to show you guys. So please, nothing as dense as human design. That was going to be the biggest thing. So we made it through the biggest thing. Next thing I want to show you that might be really helpful for you in astrology is getting your progressed chart done. So this is, you put in your birthday, then you put in the day of today, basically, or maybe in the future, a future date you give a crap about, maybe something coming up in the future. I don't know. Maybe you get fancy with it. I wasn't doing it that fancy. But here we are on horoscopes.astro-seek.com in the, where are we, section, secondary progressions, it's called here on the website, in the free horoscope section, secondary progressions section. This is your progress chart, I've heard it called. So basically, you give them your birth date. This is obviously not mine. I haven't put my data in here. You do it on your end. This is what the workshop's for. You put in your birthday. You do the current day, really. in my opinion. Let's just do today, September 18th, 2024, whatever time it is for you. And just leave this as default because I have no idea what this means. Yeah, that's a lot of extra stuff in there. I'm just going to leave it on the default thing because I think that's what we want. Gosh, sorry, I don't know that. But hey, like I said, I know lots of things about lots of things, and I'm increasing that knowledge all at the same time. So get your progress chart. Okay, make it, do it, get it, got it. It's not going to be your natal chart. It's going to look totally different. So what it is, it's your natal chart as time moved forward from that point, basically, with the moon especially. So 1 day after birth to 1 year after life is widely believed that the secondary progressions reflect the evolution of our unique personality over time. So this is basically how you've evolved and what is your current chart in a way versus what you were born with, if I understand this tool correctly. I think I'm on the right tool and I think I'm going to get the right results that I want. Personal progressed calendar. Is that what we want? Okay, maybe that's what I want. Nope. No, I think this is what I want. I want your secondary progression. Now I'm not sure if I got the right tool up, but anyways, your progress chart is basically about where you are right now. And it has to do with movement of the moon and how they move the time and the clock forward. I don't quite fully remember this second. I'm having a bit of a brain fart about it, honestly, but that's okay because I'm pretty sure what I'm saying is true and is going to give us what we want. So maybe I'll do this really quick and make sure it's going to populate what I'm asking you guys to look for just to be sure. So I'm just going to go. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. You're going to look at my face as I quickly fill in this information. So why you can do it or not, you can maybe wait for me to prove that what I'm saying is accurate. But let's just move these numbers around. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whoop. 50. Don't say that out loud. Okay. Okay, we want our progress chart for right this second, I guess, or for noon. When I started this video, what was my chart? Let's see if this is right. I hope I'm telling you to do the right thing. Please. Okay, I think I did it. I'm just looking. Let me brain for 1 second. I must use my brain. Braining is happening. Apologies. Okay, so yeah, this is it. This is what I want. So fill out that chart. Okay, and it's going to populate your thing. Okay, it's going to look a little freaky. Just take a breather. Take a second. If you scroll right to the bottom, right, that's what we want. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that I 100% know what I'm saying at my own workshop. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So run that. That was the correct one. That's what I want you to look at. Secondary progressions. Now I want you to scroll down when you get your chart. Now this is weird because I should have just done a random day. Maybe I can do that next and make this so you can't see mine, even though it's not a huge deal, but maybe it is. All I got to say is I don't trust witches. So all I'm saying is like narcissists are out there and they're doing wacky shit. So don't give too much of your information out online ever, especially about your birthday and time. So yeah, basically if you scroll down, it's going to say something. It's going to say progressed arcs, and it's going to show you your natal information, which should be recognizable, your natal stuff. And then next to it's going to say your progress chart. So where you are now. And so for me, my natal positioning of the sun on the most basic level is at 29 point something something degrees Libra. Like I said, I'm only minutes away from being a Scorpio. Really. In my progress chart, I'm only minutes right now into being a Sagittarius in my progressed life. So I'm only a few minutes into my Sagittarian energies in a way, if we go off the progress charts. My moon, 6 degrees into Aquarius when I was born. Now it's at 20 degrees Pisces. Different vibe for sure. So this is, and it's not going to be the case for all the planets. They may have some that are still the same, different degrees, which you can look up. The degrees all mean something too. So you can look up the degrees of all your placements to see what those degrees symbolically mean, what they mean. So that's cool too. If for another little dig deeper into astrology, which is what this workshop's about, that's a helpful tip if you don't know that yet. But yeah, I'm curious what your progressed charts are and what your progressed, Venus is. How did you love when you were a baby? And now how do you love now? How do you prefer to be loved? Mine was at 8 degrees Venus when I was born. It's now at 17 degrees Scorpio. So it's a different Venusian energy for sure. Same with Mars. How did you fight back when you were a kid? I fought back at 17 degrees Mars, which is funny. And now I'm at 9 degrees Sagittarius. So I'm fighting different too than I did when I was little for my needs and whatever. Jupiter, all of them are different. So you're moving forward in time, you're shifting and you're changing. And so who are you now? Your progress chart is kind of like, who are you now? So let me just fill in so I can give you some visuals. I'll fill in a random day, random birthday. I'll just do a I'll just mush up some of my stuff so it's a little less time consuming. So I mushed up some of my stuff so you can kind of get a visual now. So I'm going to put you guys back on so you can see what I'm doing. Whoop, screen share, please. Please. Por favor. Mi amigo. Grazie. Okay. Back we are again, so you can see where we're going. So here's what it looks like when you populate it. We put it in. So here's the birth chart. You can see it here on the side too if you want to, but you can scroll down, like I said, to this section. It says progressed arcs. Much easier to see, much bigger. I'm not going to worry about the arcs, but it's easier to actually see the progressed and natal charts in this one versus up here on the right. It's just a little bit easier in my opinion, but up to you. Up to you. Do it how you feel you need to do it. So this isn't my birthday. It's a little bit smudged up, clearly. But here's what I'm talking about. So this is your sun. This is the sun you were born with, this person or you. And while you're looking at this is the sun you are now. And it's going to keep changing. So you can keep looking up your progress chart and see how things are noodling along. It's super interesting. So you can kind of evolve as a person. You aren't exactly all of what you were born as. That was that moment in time. And now take that moment in time and move it to now. What does it look like? How is the sky oriented now? And this is what it looks like. So very helpful tool. I really liked it. You can also do your sidereal progress chart as well, in case you prefer that system. There's also those tools online. I've done it before. Okay, cool. So like I said, there's a whole other way to do astrology. It's called Vedic astrology, and there's a Vedic calendar. And this is very important. And the ages and the times and the energies that they're tracking through this style, which is mostly popular in India, is really cool. And I've had a Vedic astrology reading by somebody who had that background and was able to do it. And it was very fascinating. And it showed me that there's so much more yet to learn. And the interesting with Vedic astrology is that it's bunched into the medicinal like education of Ayurveda and the Ayurvedic information, which is all about, again, your dosha as well, and how you should eat, and what's hot and what's cold, and when and how, and what time of the year, and all these things, and all these systems of helping you orient yourself in space time. So this is another option. I'm not going to get into it today. By the September next year, I assume I'm going to have some more information about Vedic astrology that you can use on your day to day that helps. But for now, I'm just telling you it exists, and that there is some treasures in there too for you, probably, especially too if you have an Eastern, if you have Eastern DNA, if you have Indian DNA, especially, it may be really interesting for you to check into that. So, Vedic astrology. This is on VedicAstroChart.com, particularly, and you can get your natal chart done here as well on this website right away. Get that info started. See what they're going to tell you. If you don't know what to put in, just leave things as is default for all of these things. You're like, wait, what system do I want? If you don't know the answer, just leave it the way that it was. Likely will help. So here we go. Oh my God, you guys. Next system is astrocartography that we're going to get into. So we did human design. Another big one that you can do is astrocartography, which is super fun. We have, hold on, let me just, this particular chart, this is what it'll look like when you run it. This is what your astrocartography will look like. You're going to get an atlas like this, and you're going to have all these lines whooshing over it like this, over the atlas, and you're going to see all around the outside, you're going to see labels of the planets, basically. And so if you picture this as an orb, and you're seeing all of these orbits going around, they're actually, the orbits of all these planets are tracing these lines across the Earth from the moment you were born. These are the lines that the planets were tracing across the Earth. Does that make sense? And so with these lines in mind, you can actually travel across the Earth and experience these echoes of feeling and of experiences based off of how you orient to the planets from when you were born on this Earth. Isn't that interesting? So people use astrocartography to figure out where they're going to live, where they're going to be the most healthy and beautiful, where they're going to have the most success in business, where they're going to have the most love, where they're going to have the most soul growth, for example. And if you want to do all those things at different decades of your life, you're going to be moving across the Earth and utilizing those lines. And there's people who live and breathe by this system. There are genius children, again, who have clung onto the system, I've noticed, and are doing readings for people. And it is like a language. It's just like this fluency that's coming through. So I know this is something that we can do. Like every planet, every species, race out there. And I think we all have used this system before. All these systems are just being adapted to where you're at. Like for Earth, example, the system was adapted to Earth. And so when it comes to your astrocartography, I need you to run your chart. I need you to pull up this map first. And then there are significant things that you want to look for right off the bat. I'm not going to overwhelm you in this episode or this workshop. I'm going to give you little bits that you can use. Like that's the goal here is, so where is your sun line? The sun can be placed where you feel self-actualized. You're feeling your fullest self. Basically, you will shine wherever this line is on your astrocartography, and you'll be in your sense of self. If you're living near your moon line, it can represent places where you're going to be emotionally tied, or you're going to be emotionally engaged, or really, dealing with emotional stuff. And, really just experiencing your full spectrum of emotion, like it says here. And it may also feel like home. It may also feel like comforting. Not all emotions are bad. Feeling good emotions, feeling emotionally pleased may be possible also in these areas. But that's an arguable point. Some people say you don't want to be by your moon line. So it depends on the person, just like most things. Depends on also the lines nearby. The lines west of you, I guess, is the most influential. Usually you want to be Do you want to be west of the line, or do you want the line to be west of you? I think you want the line to be west of you more so, if that's the case, is what I remember reading from the system just earlier today. Look that up, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Okay, the Mercury line, this would be a great place for intellectual stimulation, communication, expression, social activity, you know, busy, 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 intellectual chit chat stimulation. Venus line, which is where I'm living nearby. I'm living east of it technically, but not too far. But it's the closest line to where I live and where I've lived most of my life, because my Venus line goes vertically right down North America through Alberta and Arizona. So I'm a Venusian through and through in so many ways in my chart also, so it makes sense in a way, but this is where your heart lies. You generally represent somewhere you are fond of and are always hold a special place for you. Of course, my home, my family, and now my home now and my family now are all living on this line. So it seemed to work out. I gravitated towards my Venus line naturally. Could be because I'm a Venus dominant person in my natal chart. That's a theory I just coming up with. I don't know if that's true, might be true for you. I'm going to ask people this in the future. We're going to figure that one out. Mars line, it could be a place for good energy, drive, ambition, masculinity. It could also potentially get you overstimulated, over triggered, over inflamed. You may get inflammation or burnout in those areas too. So maybe don't live by your Mars line, but travel to your Mars line. Enjoy it. Go on vacations to your Mars line for inspiration and workouts and adventures potentially. So Jupiter line, this is another really good one. So you want to live probably near your sun, your Venus, or your Jupiter. And I'll tell you why. Jupiter is overall would be considered your lucky and beneficial place. It can also be a place of growth and expansion, but overall abundance, a greater sense of hope, wisdom, expansion. Saturn line, it would be a place you're going to be getting worked on. You're going to have to do hard work. You may feel like you're slogging through life. You're dealing with a lot of karma, but it will help you build a sturdy, long-lasting situation as well. Your Uranus line would be, this place would be anyone's guess. Overall, it could lead to an unexpected circumstance and sudden change, as well as rebellion, freedom, authenticity. If you're seeking drastic change and innovation, go on a vacation to your Uranus line and see what comes through for that. Your Neptune line, while placement could foster creativity and spirituality, it could also bring illusion and confusion. So you could get a little bit too Neptunian, a little bit too fairy tale, what's the word? Fantasizing in your imagination, illusion, basically. You could convince yourself of something that's not true. uh, but artistic and musical pursuits may do very well in these areas, because you do need to kind of really get into that space of woo woo to kind of be and pull out those beautiful pieces of art, basically. But they're saying it may not be a great place for a long stay. You may have a rose-colored, rose-tinted view of life and kind of be unrelatable to people because you're not quite fully aware of what's going on the rest of the world. Like, I experienced this today with somebody who does Akashic readings, and I realized that they weren't aware that of some very evil beings that they were working with. And I was like, how does this person not know that they're tapping into someone who has made many crimes against humanity? I'm surprised they were unaware of that detail. I thought that was a well-known fact in our community. And it was like, ooh, interesting. So maybe that person's living in their Neptunian energy a little too much. I don't know. That's just an example coming to mind. I'm sure you've come across people who have that experience where you're like, how do you not know this? You're a little too naive. It's almost a little dangerously naive is kind of the energy. Pluto line, a place of profound tests and transformation. It may bring cataclysmic or catalytic growth and rebirth. So watch out for your Pluto line, honestly. Chiron line, similar energy. Chiron is the wounded healer. So overall, it could be a place of healing, but it could also be a tender place that's constantly kind of poking your unhealed parts. Your North Node area would be a place, your North Node line would be a great place for soul growth moving forward, do destined or what's fated. And your south node is a great place for to release stuff that no longer serves you, your past versions of yourself, your past life. My south node is Gemini. I'm moving on from Gemini ways. So leaving that go, and karmic experiences and etc. So I needed to go over all these lines so you kind of had a feel for why we care, basically. So when it comes to these lines in particular, hey, there we go. Zoom it out a little bit. It's tricky. It's tricky to trace this because we also have ascending midheaven line, the Imam Coeli line, and the ascendant line and the descendant line. Okay, so these are also playing on here. So what do these lines mean too? The MC line, this is about your vocation, your calling, your sense of purpose, your aspects relating to career, your midheaven. It represents the highest point in your chart. So Jupiter midheaven line could be extremely professional, beneficial, and expansive for you. So we'll look for that in mind. Your IC line is the bottom of your chart, the nadir, and represents your sense of home, where you belong, your family, your roots, and your ancestry. So this may even be a little bit of a hint too for your soul ancestry and some of your stuff, even if you don't know your family or your background that well, where IC lines are. Your moon IC line can be an extremely soothing and naturally comforting place. So that's fantastic. I'm pretty sure my moon IC line is over Florida. And I always wondered, like, what does that mean? Is that bad? I can't even find it. AC, MC, where's IC? Here it is. Okay, so my IC moon is going directly right down here. So what did that say? I could be extremely soothing and naturally comforting place of belonging for me is right down through here. So right down through Russia. Just kidding. But not. But interesting how that's coming all through here. I haven't been to this part of the world. Kuala Lumpur might be a great place for me to hang out, for example. Could be. Then there's a lot of ocean involved down here, so can't really hang out over here. Jupiter, what was the first one? Jupiter MC line. So where's my Jupiter MC? Where are you? Is that Jupiter or Saturn? I'm like mixing up Jupiter. Here we go. MC. AC, come on. It's not even on here. Well, I guess they aren't going to tell you everything. Like, I don't even have one. What's going on? Oh, here we go. She's all the way over here. Found her, and it's over by my son too. Oh, these were the ones that were going through New Zealand. I had some very interesting lines going through New Zealand. So I might be like super, super like successful if I move to New Zealand, according to this midheaven Jupiter line. Could be extremely professionally beneficial and expansive for me because the sun is also here for it. So that's just even more. So my sun and Jupiter MC are going over New Zealand, basically. They're hanging out over in New Zealand. And my AC moon, which is interesting too. Did we talk about AC? So we'll talk about ascendant next. Your ascendant is a default expression how you show up in the world, or represents a sign that was rising in the eastern horizon the moment you were born. And it's also how you come across as others, your ascendant. So it's a very important piece of your natal puzzle. Your ascendant is, I am a Aries ascendant or a Pisces ascendant, depending on what system you like. Aries tropical, Pisces sidereal. A sun ascendant line could show us a place where we can really peel back the layers of our authentic self, and a Venus AC line can bring a sense of beauty to our identity, for example. So interesting that the moon is involved with that. So it seems like that's still a beneficial group. So me and New Zealand, we seem to get along pretty good, which is interesting because I've got blood that's married into that area. So my blood relatives are here, but they have married into that area of the world. So that's kind of the only connection I have, but I have some like second cousins who live there basically. But they don't really know me. You know what I mean? But I've got some family over there. If in an emergency, if I was like, you have to go to New Zealand, I have some people who would look after me at least. And I even have some followers now who would look after me. But it's about who you know, in my opinion. So be kind, get connections all over the earth, because who knows, you might need to go to your astrocartography line and get a download. You'll be like, you know what, I really need some freaking success in my business. So I'm going to fly to my astrocartography line, hang out there for a few months of my I don't know, Jupiter midheaven. You know what I mean? Like for me, I could go to New Zealand. My Jupiter midheaven line is over there. So the descendant line finally is key interactions with others, how you are in relationships, what you require from them, and what you require from who you attract. So interesting. It's kind of like what you need from people and others is your descending line. So Uranus descending line can bring exciting people into our lives, but also can be unsettling if you prefer stable relationships. So funny how that is. So I know this is all a lot. This is a lot all at once, but this is a really good starting point I'm giving you, honestly for this system. So hopefully you're plugging it in, you're getting your own chart. Depending on the website, some of them will ask you for your email. Who cares? You're getting a free chart just for your email, and then unsubscribe when they start sending you Christmas promotional. Every business is about to go crazy promo level because they want you to be buying stuff this last quarter of the year, business quarter. So don't get drawn into it. Leaven your spending throughout the whole year. Don't just treat yourself one time a year. Treat yourself a little bit all year long. Level it out. Don't let commercialism win. Please, for the love of God, get that shit to stop being so annoying. Please. All right. You're way cooler than commercialism. Holidays are great. Commercialism, confusing. Money movement, material movement, waste. Don't buy stuff with a ton of waste and packaging. Avoid that like the plague. If it has packaging, don't buy it. Just show these companies like we're done. We're done. We're done with this nonsense. We can celebrate this holiday with mindfulness and without creating huge mess, etc. So anyways, that little rant aside, I'm super excited for the holiday seasons this year. I don't know what it is. Last year I didn't even want to celebrate Christmas at all. Last couple years. This year I'm already celebrating. I've started. I'm skipping over Halloween and my own birthday. I'm like, we're going into Christmas. I don't know what it is. I'm skipping over Thanksgiving. I'm skipping everything. I don't know why, but Christmas is on my mind and I've started celebrating Christmas now. I'm watching Christmas movies. I'm planning, like it's happening. Maybe these next few months are going to go by really fast. So starting now is good. I don't know, but Christmas is my life right now. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I'm skipping my own birthday. I'm just going right into it. So is that on my astrocartography? Probably not. So let's get into that for a second. Look one moment closer. Like I said, I'm living over here in Phoenix area, and here's my Venus line right here. My AC Venus. So what was AC again? Your default expression. So this is my default Venusian expression where I'm at. Makes sense. That's a good vibe. That's comfortable for me. Let's see. If I wanted to move to my sun line for some reason, my basic expression of my sun line and my Jupiter line, my basic expression of self and my business and my luck and in my overall shine and who I am, I could move over to Texas. Go to Corpus Christi over here. Go watch the Rockets launch every day. Like I have good vibes over there. I've never hung out over there very long. I recently went to Texas for the eclipse. It was my first time hanging out over there. Did I have extreme luck and, extreme selfness? No, I would say it was a weird little trip, honestly. It was really tough. It was tough. It was a tough trip. It was actually really tough on me, but it was worth it, and it made me grow as a person, so maybe it was just that's all I needed. Maybe it grew me in ways I will appreciate later, but, for example, me going to Florida, I have my MC moon cutting right through in Miami, cutting right through Florida. So what is your MC? It's your again, this is my vocational calling, my purpose. My career potentially would be at a high point or at least an emotional point with the moon in Florida. Be emotionally in my career. It's very interesting how these like themes kind of overlap and you kind of have to try and get a taste for what the vibes are going to be with these overlapping informative categories, right? So let's do one more just for fun and then we'll move on. So, one more that looks interesting on here, a line. Let's do something that would suck, maybe, where I'd be Delulu. Where on the planet would I be full Delulu, full, Neptunian? I don't know. Neptunian nonsense. So, let's see. What was that again? Okay, so MC, my regular old Delulu. Are these lines overlapping? I can't tell what's going on here actually. Over by Texas as well. So maybe that's why I was having an issue. Is that right? Where'd this line go? They're combining. Looks like. Yeah, a little Delulu Alexis moment in Texas as well. So, whatever. You guys are going to have totally different lines than I am. And you're going to maybe not be able to travel to some of those places, but maybe you will, depending on the passport you have and whatever's going to happen in the future with passports and borders. And we're trying to get that to evolve majorly because that's been a major issue for trafficking. And, people who follow rules, people following the rules and they only make the rules so they can privately break them. You know what I mean? So all the rules that have been made are being privately broken by an elitist class for all types of reasons. They don't want us to know about it or call them out on it. So those systems don't actually serve to protect us. They're serving to protect the evil. And so a lot of these systems that we use diligently as people, we're using them because we're thinking, yeah, this is the honest way to live. But they've only made these rules so they can break them and hide in another section where we're not even paying attention because we're following the rules. So we're over here. If that makes sense. So does that show up on a chart? Rule following? A little, maybe that'd be your Saturnian, I would say, your Saturnian placement. So what's your Saturnian? Maybe you want to be following rules. For example, but I digress. This is a fantastic system. Get yourself an astrocartography reading if you're feeling guided to it as well. I'd be happy to look over your chart and dig into it with you if you prefer my style of reading and you trust me and you don't want to just go ahead and meet a whole new random psychic and person working out there. I know it's hard. I get it. I get it's hard to meet new people and get services from strangers. I totally get it, which is why I try and do videos so you can get to know me. You're like, okay, well, I could trust Alexis with my chart. I trust Alexis with my information. I want to talk to her, get her opinion about stuff, blah, blah, blah. Get to know me. So I'm going to go and check on your comments real quick. My Jupiter midheaven is over Alaska. Brr, seriously. Yeah, some very middle of the ocean. Yeah, goes into the Pacific for about 1,000 miles. That might serve you though. We don't know how things are going to change. You might have your little spaceship and you just be hovering over there for the summer vacation, just right in your Jupiter midheaven line. Alaska gets nice in the summer. It does, the sun doesn't set, but it gets nice. There's the bears are happier. There's more, the bears are out. They aren't sleeping, so it's bear season. But anyways, Alaska, that's why you float above in your little spaceship house. You let the bears, graze and you just watch the bears and all. So cute. You can share the space, but you're not going to have to outrun a bear. I kind of took that on a journey, but That's improv crowd work right there. So just have to keep rolling with it. B days on November and October feel like Christmas because there's a whole festivity thing secretly happening. I know everybody's already partying. Christmas vibes ahead of time. My Venus line goes right through Phoenix. Woo! Which one? Your AC, your IC, your MC, or your DC? Oh, we're applying what we learned. So I might as well test you a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, so now we're doing the rant portion of this workshop. So we're 2.5 hours in. Those were all some astrological and zodiac and birth sign related stuff that I gathered since last year we did this workshop, and I thought would be the juiciest, goodest, yummiest for everybody to enjoy for themselves and their families and their kids. Like as a kid, the fact that my mom cared about my astrology and me and these systems and we did these things together, it just made it a million times better. It made me who I am today. It made me confident and it made me want to share that love with others, pay it forward. The loving, nurturing that my mother gave me, I'm giving it to all of you in so many ways. And she's about to launch and start her business as a intuitive healer. And I was working with her. This is part of the rant. So I was working with her to get her company started on Wix.com, her website. She's got her domain. She bought her domain, which you can buy through Wix as well. She didn't, but you can import it into Wix, which is the website builder and the backstage manager of all of your what you want to offer as bookings and what your calendar is and your emails and all that stuff for you running your website. And I helped my mom do this. I started and I learned how to do this because she wanted my help in 2014 to do this. And then in doing so, I learned how to do it. And then I had to do it for myself because she backpedaled hard. She got scared. She didn't want to be public. She didn't want to put her face out there. She didn't want to teach publicly. She was struggling to put her face out there to show up like she did as my mom. She was struggling to show up in a way as a teacher in society. She was definitely she was born to be a mom. She was super confident in that role. Not a lot of women are, but some of them are born that way. And my mom was one of those people. She always told me she wanted to be a mother. That was her duty in life. But she has this skill and this ability to heal and do psychic intuitive things on a level that I don't even have in some ways as well. She's a unique person, unique soul, unique skill. So I learned, and now again, 10 years later, I have a website ready for her. She knows how to use it. She's ready to launch, and she's just going on a vacation. She's just retired out of the matrix. She's going to go on a vacation very soon to do some grid work. And she's entering this new phase of her life where she's not attached to the matrix and she doesn't have coworkers and people to be embarrassed in front of. You know what I mean? She doesn't have people who are trying to buy the product of her company looking and seeing that she's maybe crazy. You know what I mean? She doesn't have that issue anymore. So she's now breaking into this new and this actualized version of herself, her default mode in a way versus her professional veneer that people put on. And it's scary for her. It's scary for her. She's read so many books of a lot of really pronounced authors in this community of spirituality in the last 50 to 100 years. She's read a ton of these books. And she has watched a lot of Gaia interviews with a lot of these authors also. And she's just sat there grinding her teeth like, I want to interview these people. I want to interview these authors. These interviews are superfluous. They didn't even research this author. You can tell, like, there's no love. She can tell there's no love. It's just another day at the office for this person who's sitting on camera interviewing this person and honestly using the interview to talk about themselves and what they know instead of the person they're interviewing for knowledge. The host is busy spouting off all the stuff that they know. It's like, listen, we're not here to listen to you. We're here to listen to the person, your guest. So please, I don't want to hear another word about you. I want to hear about your guest, please, because that's why we're here. A few connecting anecdotes, ha ha ha. Oh, that same thing happened to me. End of sentence. You know what I mean? And yeah, so anyways, about you more, like get back to your subject. So my mother's always been very like, she's tuned in. She wants to do interviews with people, but that requires her doing a Zoom call with someone she doesn't even know. She doesn't even know how to operate Zoom that well. So now I'm going to have to start doing Zoom calls with her to teach her how to use Zoom, where I'm her guest. She's on there. So I'm slowly working with her. And now I'm doing this professionally on ascensiondiaries.com. You can schedule me right now to be your mentorship, to do this exact same thing with you and push you through to break out of the matrix, break out of the nonsense, and actually be you, who you were supposed to be, professionally even, and just be authentically you. Work, home, play. It's all you, and it's all being helpful. It's all helpful. I want to help people get to that stage. I'm doing it for my mom. I'm doing it for you guys. I've done it for a ton of friends, even including my own age, who are not even as good as the tech, didn't know how to do this. I just have the experience. I know what to do. So I can very slowly and efficiently, but successfully move you through getting your brand, getting your website, getting clients, getting paid, getting advertised, and with the most streamlined, non-bullshit, non-business, blah, blah, blah. Look at this 40-page PowerPoint on how to be a business person. Like, I hate that stuff. Like, it's not how I think. I'm just going to take you and I'm going to go, I know how to do this. What do you want? Okay, I'm going to make it look the way you want. Okay. And now I'm going to force you to upload a video from your platform on the topic you want to talk about. And I'm going to be your cheerleader. I'm going to help you. I'm going to be the person who's watching and who is going to say nice things about you behind that screen. I'm going to be on your team. And so the rant I have is basically so many people have a mission. And this is in the law of one as well. But there are a lot of people who come here, star seeds, wanderers, who forget or do not achieve their mission because they become afraid of setting themselves apart or shining, basically. And they fall into NPC land and they hide and they get distracted with something. And then another starseed has to come to save their ass. I know I've said that a little bit with a little bit of an edge, but I am a Sagittarius now. No, but it's in the books. It's like, it's in the channel text, like, hey, people come here to try and help, and then they forget that's why they were here, and then more people have to come and help them. We have to come help the helpers. We had to come help the help. And there's still kids incarnating doing that, even probably for me, to help me. That something I've lost track of since I've incarnated, and I need a little kid to be like, hey, look at me, like I'm made of pure magic, which happened the other day at Disneyland. And I was just like, because it was like, oh shit, I remember me and I haven't been me. Like, I haven't been being me all the way. But this little girl just reminded me, like, oh, that's me. And I have to be magical fairy princess goddess lady over here. And that's just the shine that I have. And that's how kids look at me. And they are happy that I'm doing that I'm being that I'm here. And they see it, they believe it. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to tell them what you are. They see you. And I'm sure that's happened to plenty of you guys. So kids have walked up to you and just been like, like just astonished. It's just like, and like craning their heads as they're being carried away, like just stare at you and just like telepath. Like, they don't even know what they're trying to say to you, but they're just like, ah. They're reaching out. They're like, ah, because they recognize and they feel you. So imagine me, I'm that baby. I'm seeing you guys as well. People older than me, especially you guys. I incarnated to come here and rescue some people who forgot. The rescue team that came in, some of y'all needed me to come in and rescue you guys, is kind of the energy. And what am I rescuing you from? I'm rescuing you from the most vapid, ridiculous thing that happened, which was making people aware of what they look like and making them feel some sort of self-consciousness about the way they look and the way they sound. Whatever that is, whatever successfully did that in our society, which made people extremely self-conscious about the way they look and the way they sound, that is what caused people to fall. That's what made the helpers forget who they are, in my opinion, the most. And my mission has been very much like, look at me, you guys. Like, I even got the download today. It was like, be even more informal, be even more human, like be even less plastic. Like, I don't even know, be more relatable, be more make more mistakes, like be messier. You know what I mean? Make it raw, make it more relatable to like the average person, because anything that's on a screen has all of a sudden, through our mind control, has to be perfect, pristine. This is Virgo problems too. Perfect, pristine. It needs to look the best. It can't be out there unless it's the best either. Like, it's not worth it to do your thing because someone's already doing something like that. It's like, no. Okay, I'm going to talk about this on my live stream tomorrow, my code stream, Alexis Rose Ascension Codes stream I'm going to do tomorrow. But basically, I had to unsubscribe and unfollow people I like. People I like and the creators I like. A lot of people who are starseeds like me, similar ages too, who are all starting to make the same kind of content. And I had to unfollow on on my mainstream, on my main stuff, unfollow some of these creators, not because I didn't like their content, but was because it was blocking me. It was blocking me from being myself because I saw someone else doing something that I had thought about that day. And then I saw that they did it. So a part of me was like, I don't need to do it. Or why am I supposed to do it too? And I was like, get that out of there. Because that was stopping my creative flow and it was paralyzing me. It was watching other creators was paralyzing me. So you may have this problem is you're watching TV, you're watching the news, you're watching people who've been in hair and makeup since 5 a.m. and who are professional models who read teleprompters. Okay. They're hiring models who can read. That's it for a lot of this stuff, even spiritual stuff, those spiritual videos that go viral and you're like, oh my God, look at this person. They got 1 million views and they're talking about the sun or whatever. That's a model reading a script most of the time. These viral videos, these viral spiritual videos, they're literally just people reading scripts and they're models. And models are a specific kind of person who didn't get the memo that they're not beautiful enough and they don't look good enough to be out there. Like maybe their parents told them over and over and over, and all their family and friends, like, you're beautiful, you're marvelous, you're gorgeous, you're like a work of art. Like, you have to get your face out there. It's just a unique style and you just gotta, you're beautiful. Like, my family actually did that to me in a lot of ways. They were very much supportive. And when YouTube kind of came along, and we all remember early YouTube, I hope you do. When YouTube came along, my family turned to me and they were like, I think this is for you. Like, I think you should be making YouTube videos. And I was like, about what? Basically, not like, I don't want people to see me. It was like, what am I going to offer the people? What do I want to talk about? As I matured, I figured that out. But as you mature, you've also figured that out, but you haven't actualized it. And that's what I need to talk to you guys about. And I know I keep saying this, but this seems to be the message of 2024 especially is, and I want to bang my fist on the table really hard. And that's the Aries. It's just like, boom, like, listen, you must do your job. You must be visible. Your voice, the resonations that come out of your gorgeous self are the codes that someone needs older than you and someone needs younger than you. So you're here to serve your elders and the youth. That's your job. That's the only thing you should really think about when you're making content is, how am I going to clarify and make available something for the elders in a way to understand, and clarify and make something available for the youth who are just starting to. So the elders who forgot and got distracted with stock market, and they're like, wait a minute, this is a really good video about astrology. Maybe I should get into astrology a little more. I've always loved astrology, and I really felt like it was actually my mission to like do astrology with people. That's what I mean. Like, that's what's going to happen when they see you doing you. The elders who forgot, who need to reawakened. And then the youth, like, I don't know if you've noticed the quality of content that's coming out, even the vocabulary people on these models on the news who read the news, their vocabulary has gone down. Look at news stories on YouTube from 1969. Listen to the way they talk. IQ levels are higher. It's crazy. It's crazy. And they're stupefying people with the way they talk and with the videos and with the beautiful veneer of like, and frick, now they're in, a lot of women are and men are putting in Botox in their 20s. So there's literally like this plastic looking skin that has there's no emotion actually being translated across their faces, you guys. Emotions aren't even being translated because of these plastic Barbies that are being hoisted up as these are the beings we get information from because they look the part, they sound the part. No, you were born looking and sounding the part. And what you need to say is what all of this veneers and this fancy world and this world of garbage, you know, microplastic land needs your authentic raw energy exactly how it is, not morphed to look good for them, but in its own ball of moss and existence. You know what I mean? Its own microbiome. That's you. Okay. And what's the easiest thing you can do right now? What's going viral and going out there and being pushed? Because that's what we want. We want your frequencies, your authentic starseed mission frequencies to be put out there and circulated without even being tracked. Like they'll try and stop you. So if you can somehow make it in a way where it's not going to flag you for saying something too crazy. But if you can get your frequency out there, good lighting, 100%. We need good lighting pretty much. That's great. Good lighting. That's it pretty much. You just need good lighting on you, which is great because the sun rises every day. The light comes up, free lighting. Okay. Making short videos in phone mode, basically. So they're videos that you'd shoot in your phone straight up and down. And reels for Instagram, shorts on YouTube, and then TikToks, which is always the way usually. But you can have a really long TikTok now. You can upload like a 10-minute long TikTok, I think now, maybe even longer. I digress. Anyways, short, that's the style. So if you're going to film something and you're going to start sharing your message, you just start the brand, start the thing on whatever platform you feel like you want to infiltrate and put light into. Usually your favorite one is the one you want to do it on. The one you ingest the most is the one you have the most insight on, if that makes sense. So pick the one you're on the most and start producing content on there. But I would say just short videos, one point that you're trying to make at a time. So I want to talk to you about this. Like I want to talk to you about honesty. Honesty should make you feel like this. This is how you access honesty better. This is how honesty makes you feel. Honesty is good for your health. Video done. Perfect. Information quick. It's your face. And they need to see your face. Like they need to see your face moving around. They want to see the emotions that come up out of your face. It's important in these videos, and your voice, the way you say stuff, your emphasis, your tone. Like children are learning how to speak watching our videos. They're watching crap. Like there's children learning how to speak, read, learn the world through teachers that you wouldn't trust. So you have to step up. You have to. Like I don't know how many more times I have to say this before the video is over. I really hope that this is hitting home. It's like writing out your own recipes for your next generations. It's like that's what we're doing, but we're doing it on these platforms. Is we're putting the recipes for success in digital form and putting them out there because there's so much recipe for disaster being promoted and going viral. Do you remember when they were encouraging people to eat dishwasher pods and people were, or the cinnamon challenge? Like there's so many things that went viral that literally destroyed people. Like and children, and it was aimed at them. Like I said, when you pass on or move on, transform from this life and this body, you'll want to say that you did your part creating the better for the next generation. And we have those tools now digitally to do so. where you can reach kids all over the world, but you can also, again, paint a mural in your front yard or on your fence that could wake up children in the local area and lift their spirits. Like, there's always something you can do. So just do it. And whatever it is that is your mission and you know what you need to be doing, and you're like, oh, I just don't have the technical help, or I just am not fully sure about this one or two thing, or like I'm stumped on this one problem. Just get one session with me, ascensiondiaries.com. One investment. I will spend the time. I will get you to the finish line. I promise. Like, I can do this for you. I can help you. I am your companion through this. And as a spirit, just see me as a spirit of aid and helpfulness. And I have a corporeal life. I have bills. I have a home. I have 6 non-human children. And I work for myself. I have been scraping pennies by, scraping money together, just like, just walking through that eye of the needle, walking through the eye of the needle since, like, what was it when I quit and started doing this? 2016, 2017. And I've seen people have success using all these business things and like techniques, and I've been like, good for you. Like, is your goal to be rich? Because that wasn't my goal, but good for you. You could achieve, like, I want you to achieve your goals. You know what I mean? I'm happy. So you're happy. I'm happy. My goal is to lift the vibration of our planet to the place where we're safe, basically. I want us to be safe. So I was like, I'm going to invest all my time and energy into that goal. And I do that through readings with people, one-on-one psychic medium readings. I do it through Space Weather, the Space Weather. I do it through these videos. I'm just doing it. I'm just going straight ahead doing it. I have no other distractions other than my family and my body, basically. And that's the only thing between me and doing this work as Ascension Diaries. There's nothing else, you guys. I have fully committed to this. And not a lot of people can or will. I don't know. But in 2017, it was like, I don't want to spend a single iota of energy on anything other than my true mission. And I took the heat of that. Like, I I sacrificed for that. Like the hanging man, like I sacrificed a lot of stuff. I've sacrificed a lot of stuff and freedoms that you guys maybe are still using, that are of the dark system, but you're still using them. I'm not engaging those systems from the dark side at all. But I've managed to do it. And where there's a will, there's a way. And again, I'm here to help you. If you have that will, I will help you find that way. I want to, because that's what we're all supposed to do. We're all supposed to be divine sovereign beings. We're not supposed to rely on these systems. We're supposed to do free trade amongst each other, which is going to make things more moderate. Like, you're going to have a more moderate lifestyle. You're going to have a more modest lifestyle. You're going to be way happier. You're not going to be karmically entwined with a whole bunch of other stuff from your from whatever your work is up to, for whatever those extra bills you're paying go to, whatever those taxes you're paying are going to. Karmically, you can withdraw from that, and a lot of people are doing it. It's pissing off the system, but they've been pissing off the system now for a decade with this stuff, and there's pretty much a really surefire way for a lot of people to find their own freedom and take their sovereignty back. And it's becoming like a step-by-step program that people are selling online too. The woke people are selling other people how to break free and become their own citizen and all this nonsense. Like, there's so many things that people have figured out. But we're just going to have to, you can do it all in silence. You don't have to tell anybody anything, that you're letting go of all of these cords and attachments to stuff that karmically you don't want to be involved with anymore. You don't have to tell anybody. I didn't. I just let them go and marched forward and fasted from a lot of things and pleasures that I wanted for 3 years. And then it started to come around. It started to fix itself. Like, so that life adjustment took about 3-4 years. The 5-year plan, it's always the 5-year plan. So about at 5 years, I've come around. I'm now helping other people. I'm at like 7 years now or something like that. If I got that right, it's starting to really fly now. I'm like in 7-8 years now. It's like starting to really fly by this experience level. Once you pass year 5, you're like, okay, I can see why 10-year plan is the next jump, because it's like, And that one's even faster. So yeah, let's get your 5-year plan going. Let's get you through those 5 years because you're going to have to. Liberate your soul, liberate your whole genetic lineage from these karmic ties of the system and of the false anti-life matrix stuff. Even covenants, writing contracts. You have to have a covenant with God, with Jesus only. And like all those other contracts you're writing is like covenants with these other beasts and these other principalities and all this other stuff. Like once you get really into it, even Christian TikTok is like, they tell you more about this magic and this way the Christians have been doing it. And even they have this stuff they have to overcome. Like the fact that they even identify as a Christian is another layer of separation. So it's kind of like they're still not fully getting it. But that's a hard conversation to have. No offense, Christians. I totally get it. Maybe I'll learn my lesson. I'm learning too. So I'm not saying I know everything, but I'm saying I have proof in the pudding. I am an actual person who's breaking out of this system and building my own island of Ascension Diaries. And then it's a party island. Like I'm inviting everybody to come live there. You know what I mean? Come live here with me. Come be with somebody who's not monetizing. I don't monetize on any of my platforms. They don't even let me. And the only one you can send money to me through is TikTok, which is so funny. I don't even know if I can even get that money there, but I'm not monetizing any of this stuff either. I'm only getting money from one-on-one interactions with real human beings, going to ascensiondiaries.com and scheduling a session with me or getting a mentorship package with me, or donating for a one-time reading through my PayPal, my Cash App, or my Venmo. That's it. And then my husband's made his own company too, and he's doing the same thing. Successfully and unsuccessfully, we're working through the labor of that. It's a labor of love, but it's worth it because everything we're investing, we know karmically and dharmically, our dharma is there. So it's cool. And like the pain is worth it because it's the best kind of pain because it's in the direction that you want to go, not the direction you don't. Like if you're suffering for something you don't even believe in, it's worth it to starve. Like it's worth it to starve for a couple of months even just to be like, you'll survive. Just to know that the next meal you're getting is actually sound with your soul. It's like, yes, the money I make from these sessions, I go and buy groceries that are all organic, non-GMO, and I buy from the farmer's market. I put that money back in the system only in that way, basically, and to pay my landlord, which is another person I trust, and a family of people who are awake and are preparing systems and services for our community. Like all that money is coming back into the community. This money you spend on me for these sessions and this help that I offer with my skills, it's going back into it. And it's going back into feeding me and my family. And it's like this little closed system that I'm not leaking a lot into all these other things. And I only leak in areas that I want to keep investigating and guarding over. Guardian training. I'm investing in a few of the platforms that share movies and TV shows. Not so much for the new content. Sometimes, yes, but it's more so for the old content that I still have soul fragments in. And soul had fractaled my soul when I watched this MK Ultra movie of whatever, fractaled my soul and stored a piece of myself inside, a memory of me. So when I watch this stuff, I get that part back. And so I'm being guided to watch all these movies over and over. And I'm invested in this stuff until I'm sick of watching stuff, which is coming. I can feel it coming. I can feel that sensation. Like I'm tired of watching stuff. I'm just doing plays from now on. I'm going to go watch plays in person in the park. I can't stand watching screens anymore for my entertainment. That time is coming. Like it's coming for all of us. We're all getting tired of the screens. They were only going to last so long. So anyways, wherever you're venturing out, make it for soul retrieval purposes, I would say, and continue trying to replenish your soul because we fractaled a ton without being aware of it when we were growing up before we woke up. Some of you guys were awake as soon as you were born and you were avoiding, you were able to hold in, keep your energy to yourself. But some of us really just kind of spread it all out, went to school, got your name in a bunch of clubs and businesses and blah, blah, blah. And then, all of a sudden you don't want to be that. And all of that's actually designed by the Antichrist. Whoops. Didn't know. I just thought it was normal society, but actually, no. Actually, I can't involve myself with any of that anymore. Whoops. And get your hands, all those tentacles. I'm just taking them all back. Like, ooh, actually, never mind. I'm just going to work for myself and I'm going to study myself. And that's what I did. And so I'm encouraging you guys to do that through the codes of who I am and what I'm doing and moving my noodle arms around and hoping to elicit some sort of response in you guys. But I hope that's coming across. I hope that makes sense. I hope you see where my heart is at, where I'm coming from, and what I have to offer you genuinely as a human being, as your sister, out here making the world a better place, getting you ready to make the world a better place. I'm working together. I only feel purposeful if I'm working and helping this process. So let me do my job. Hire me, I'd be happy to work for you and get that done and enjoy the results. And not only people who work with me get all that information and like, what's your soul mission? Let's go practical ways. But gosh, there's so much more like medical intuition. Like I can get medical information off of you. I'm a medium. I'll talk to your dead loved ones who come through. There's so much information that can come through for you that is so not even about your career. It's more than that. There's so much more to us in a lifetime, what to do. So much more to know. So I love my job. I love what I do. I'm inviting you to hire me if that seems interesting to you. Holidays are coming up. If you want to hire me for your friends and family and they'd be up for it, then yeah, let's do that too. Let's do a session with you and your child, you and your spouse. Like switch it up. I don't care. Like literally, I'm happy to do it. I want to meet. I want to help. I want to help our people. I'm ready. So like put me to work. I'm happy to do it. And I hope that you feel that inspired doing your job next. And if I got to put you there and help you get there, heck yeah, I might even need your services. So you don't even know what I need. Most of us don't know what we need until we see it. Okay. Most of us don't know what we need until we actually see it. So the whole freaking world may not know what we need, but you're about to take a picture of it and be like, hey, I made one of these. And we're all like, oh my God. And that'll be a scalable product, sell a billion of them. Whatever. We want scalable products. Get that term in your head, scalable products. I didn't do that. I'm selling my time. I may have a scalable product for you guys one day, like a course or a school or an actual product or a workbook or something that I could sell 100 of or whatever, a scalable product. But all I'm selling right now is my time, which is a limited thing. I'm living a modest life. I don't have the business know-how. I didn't have it. All of it was intuitive. And I like selling my time because I love people. And I think my most effective skill is in this. That's fine. That's all good. I found where I'm most effective and comfortable in the marketplace and in service. And that is a great feeling. And I want that for you. I want that for our kids. And I want that for our elders as well, who maybe didn't even get that chance. So go to ascensiondiaries.com, check out my offer. If it's not quite what you're looking for, but you could make it work for this or that reason, I'll customize our deal. Like you're just dealing with me. You're just dealing with me. There's nothing else going on. So let's customize the deal. Let's just be people and get what we need from each other. It's fine. So that's all in my astrology too. You could get my astrology information and read through it and be like, oh yeah, Alexis's life is about serving others in the spiritual field, teaching others in the spiritual field, and relationships with others with humanitarian efforts and love in general. So that's what I've got. I've got in a lot of. So I'm here to give, and we'll set you up with what you got. I'm excited because I learned from what you have. And like I said, we don't know what we need until you show us. We don't know what we're missing till you bring it to the table. We don't know what the puzzle's supposed to look like until all the pieces are there together, pretty much, right? So how many more analogies and metaphors do you need? Like I've made my point. I love you guys seriously so much. I love, love, love what I do. I know you can tell, and I want you to love it the same. If you're not there yet, I want to get you there. That's why you incarnated. Like, let's get it in this incarnation. Let's get it in this life. Let's get you sorted out and oriented in this life. And let's not require more rescue missions of souls keep coming in here to save us. Like, let's just do our job. We're so close. Like, it's so close. We're so close. Even if I could just turn a couple of you into making a reel every day under your brand about whatever knowledge you have, that could probably tip us over. It could tip us into that new earth. If I could just convince a couple of you guys, it probably is only a few. Like, it really is. Like, all of this effort just for 2 people, but it'll save the planet. Like, and that's also why I'm telling you, make content. People get so mad. They're like, "Oh, I don't have enough views on this." It's not about how many, it's about who. It's not about how many, it's about who. I just want to shake you guys. Like, it's about who sees it. You could inspire the next Einstein. You could inspire the next Elon Musk, like inspire the next Joan of Arc. You could inspire the next Diana. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know. I don't know. That's why I make these videos. I have no idea who's going to see these. I have no idea who I'm going to inspire. But that was the fun part. That was like the fun part. It was like, oh man, I can't wait to see what's going to happen after I do this. And I get amazing feedback all the time, unexpected feedback from you guys. You DM me. You're like, oh man, I had this dream after what you said. Or like, you book a session with me. That's usually what happens. And then they're like, oh God, I just had to book a session with you. Like, I was awake at night. Like, I had to do this. And this energy exchange is just necessary for my growth. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go. Like, that's what I want to hear. Jace has a similar thing with his business and with people wanting to invest in certain cryptocurrencies. They dream about it. They're like, I can't stop dreaming about this crypto, and you're talking about it. So I'm going to ask for your help. And like, why is this happening? He's had to deal with that so many times, like crazy amount of times. Like, this is happening. Like, there's shifts happening. We're all being downloaded and we're all being guided to who can help us level that up. Right. So you don't know who is going to see your content. So make it for best case scenario. Best case scenario, the next royals of the planet, or the next celebrity, the next presidents, like, could see your content and it could change their lives. It could change the trajectory of which they think about something. The trauma, they could release it finally because they related to what you shared. Like, oh my God. And that's how they dealt with it. Oh my God, that's a great idea. Like, tell people about something traumatic. Like, hey, I went through this traumatic experience and this is how I dealt with the situation and this is how it turned out. Kids need to know that. They're all developing a frontal lobe. They need this advice. So anyways, keep making content because you don't know who's watching it and you don't know who's watching them. Because it's not only just you. Many spiritual people know that there's a whole legion of angels and benevolent ET races from 50 billion star systems, potentially streaming through one person just to see what Earth is up to. And they get something that could help billions of star people, star races in another star system, just through the consciousness of one human on Earth seeing your content. I'm not even kidding. I get visions about this all the time. It's just like, most people do not understand the impact they can have and why they should never hesitate to post and share their voice, because the Alpha Centauris might need it. You know what I mean? You know, Plutonians might really needed that inside of you that day, and that you didn't do it, and oh, they had a harder day because of it. You know, you resisted and you don't know, like, what is the domino effect of you resisting yourself, resisting your soul? What is the impact of that? Do you even really want to know? Because you're going to be responsible for that when you pass on. They're going to be like, listen, all these choices you chose, all these choices you make to ignore your spirit and all this, you're going to have to do that stuff all over again because it needed to get done. So just do it now. Just do it now. We're all in this together. Agreed. Phone home. Exactly. This is very true. And we are the stars. Exactly. This is very true. And thank you, Queen Victor. I appreciate that. There is little alien children running around and they need us. You know what I'm saying? We were the little alien children and now there's little alien children. Okay. The sapphire children. for example. So that's why I'm here. And there's kids who watch these videos with their parents as well on TVs in the middle of their house. They're watching it right now, potentially. And I didn't know this at the beginning of my career on YouTube, that people watched their YouTube on TVs in their house surrounded by their children. But now that I know that, I make videos with that in mind slightly. I've made just very slight adjustments because I'm not going to speak down to children. These kids incarnating are smarter than me. I hope so. I got fully vaccinated as a child. There's definitely some potential for your untreated children, starseed children, to potentially break through and have a little bit more of a conscious capacity to achieve happiness and planetary, awesomeness. I believe in them. So I'm giving them the best of what I can. And I'm giving you the best in a way of me because I feel my best in this. But I'm not all dressed up. I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to even almost like make myself more relatable by dressing down in my reels and my videos and all that. I'm just going to wear a t-shirt and I'm just going to brush my hair to the side and and that's it. Like I'm not going to be extra. It wastes time. It exhausts me to get all extra like that. And if I'm wasting time getting ready for what I'm going to look like and then I'm too tired to shoot the video, screwed up. So that's happened enough times to me and other people where it's like, I don't want to screw that up again. I'm not going to get stuck behind vanity. I'm just going to create that content and do my best and find a medium ground, So that's the plan. I hope that helps all you beautiful babies out there. Auntie Alexis loves you. I hope that, you also get to enjoy astrology one day and with your friends and your family and in a playful way. Don't take anything too seriously because time is a little bit weird. So not everybody agrees on the time. Not everybody agrees on tropical versus sidereal astrology. There's the Vedic astrology and the Western astrology. They don't always agree. And I'm just warning you ahead of time that some people have decided that being difficult and aggressive and, combative about certain viewpoints is their personality. And I just want you to know that that's not what a personality is. And what that really is displaying is somebody who has their heart shut. Their heart is closed and they're not interested actually in engaging in other people. They're afraid of other people, basically. And so when you see people's hearts are closed, you can warm them with your childlike love and with your joy and your happiness and your warm glow. But don't expect it to be successful. Just do it for their sake, just out of kindness, and wander off and find someone who has their heart open and is willing to listen and laugh and take your perspective in and confidently say their own perspective, but without any sort of need to be right. You know what I mean? Just to share. I believe the moon's made of cheese, and I believe the moon is fake. And then everyone's like, cool. Oh, that's what they believe, and that's what they believe. Oh, cool. Period. Just let people be. you know? That's astrology big time. It's just let people astrology. Let people be. They're going to figure it out their own way. Astrology's there for you. It's there for everybody. It's equal access for everybody. Can be really helpful and super fun if you find people of your own sign or your own human design and you see that you guys kind of just click. You just get each other. Usually you don't want anything from each other though. You can usually be more back to back. They're your cover. You can go back to back and approach life and attack the unknown while you guys are covering each other's backs in a way. That's kind of how I visualize it. Us Libras are always looking out for each other, but we're not really seeking anything from another Libra. You know what I mean? We just see each other in the wild and then exchange clothes and jewelry and stuff and food and recharge. And then we go out again and tackle those more difficult characters in our lives with all those goodies and that Venusian care. Okay. So we finished our Guardian training workshop for September. Congratulations. pat on the back. I hope you got some enriching, fun stuff out of this about you, about the process of astrology, about things that are available to you, different styles, how to work some newbies into it, like the primal astrology or the card deck, playing card. What was that? The playing card type you are or whatever. And for more advanced, like human design and astrocartography. I hope those are really fun for you. Fun for me. I shared the fun things. Good vibes. I love you guys so much. Again, hit the notification bell on my YouTube channel, but go to patreon.com/Ascension Diaries and sign up under the Guardian Training tier. If you were here, you can afford it, and you want to come to the next one, please do that. This is the product, okay? The product I'm selling is this workshop. It's $40 a month as a Guardian Training Workshop member, and it helps hugely with my little life. Like, it's not really going anywhere except for my little life. And I promise I'm eating the best quality foods and I'm getting the best deals. Like, I'm not spending anyone's money in a weird way. Like, it's it's a little life. It's good. It's pure. It's wholesome. And that's the way I like it. And it's growing very slowly, like a very beautiful tree, like a oak tree. They grow pretty slow. It's kind of like Ascension Diaries is kind of like oak tree vibes. It's growing slow, but it's going to be very strong, reliable. It's going to be there a while. So thank you for joining on my Patreon. It helps a ton. Like I said, on the monthly basis, we've lost a few people with as inflation just goes up. Some people are like, listen, I gotta spend this money on rent basically. And like, I gotta cut all these extra expenses, and that's fine. But if that's not the case for you and you're like, yeah, I can afford $40 a month membership and I want to do these workshops again, and I want to support Ascension Diaries and Alexis and all of the stuff she's doing, please do. I would very much appreciate that, tribe. It would mean a ton. And to be fully supported financially through Guardian Training Workshops, for example, is a dream. And we're working up to that. That'd be fantastic. And whatever else, I don't care. The dream is happening. It's happening live. Depending on how you guys react to the content I make and the products I make adjustments. You guys don't see my failures. And honestly, you don't see a lot of my wins either. You just see me keep showing up, which is kind of like the win at the end of the day. Is if you can keep showing up, at least that person's alive and kicking and the universe is moving them along. So that's a good sign. So me showing up is kind of like, hey, it's still working. Hey, what I'm doing, still working. I'm still alive. I still manifested enough food, water, and rent and everything, and I'm still here. And I'm just coming at you, like just getting what I need done out here in the universe. So thank you. Thanks, guys, for supporting me, loving me. I hope that this supported and loved you. Thank you for being a guardian and training with me on a monthly basis at least. And I'll see you on the next video. Much love forever and always. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Riley. We got babies to save, not AI babies. We don't want them to be taught by the AI, you guys. Okay, Queen. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Trevor. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for putting my info up in the chat. If you need my link, they're in the live chat right now. And follow Cosmic Origins for his perspective on life and his momentum with the financial realm and the starseed finances, pretty much about what's going on with that. The whole legion of starseeds who are really good at math and finances are awakening, and they're like, we're taking over the economy and fixing it with this new technology. And we're like, thank you. And protect it. Like, we need more civilians and more starseeds in it so that we can control it, basically, or at least not get controlled by it. We'll at least have some sort of say, some weight in the field. We're getting that chance now to swing our weight around a bit in the field of economics right now, which just hasn't happened in, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, potentially influencing how the economy is going to actually trade its money and like what's going to happen. We get that chance now. So he's talking about all that. You can join his program as well if you're interested. And check out his channel. If you go to his channel on YouTube, Cosmic Origins, you can see his most recent video in his description, all his links and stuff that check out what he was talking about, what's going on over there. a lot of my followers end up going over there and going to his lives too. Like, we're all a big family. So join the family. I love y'all. Thanks for your donations as well. Like, so many miracle donations have come in the last second just to help us get by. Like, it's happened so many times. And it surprises me every time because you don't know what to do, and then all of a sudden there it is. So thank you again for all of you who've ever donated to our PayPal, paypal.me/dsbeings, dsbeings, divine sovereign beings. Means the world. Like, thank you so much, you guys. Literally, we just out here. We out here and we're just like making it every month. We just make it again. We make it through another month. We're like, yeah. And the years have built up. The momentum is built up and we almost believe it now. So we're getting used to it. Our nervous system, our root chakra, it's getting adjusted to this lifestyle where it's new, but now everyone's kind of transferring to this life anyway. So it's going to get easier for all of us, which is perfect, which is what I want. I want it easier for all of us. The power of numbers. Yes, ma'am. Jace just mentioned as our final note, ironically. I wonder what's in the astrology for that today. But using Bitcoin to buy food, for example, it's just those little moments of like, ooh, history is being happening. We're applying this different currency, which isn't fiat currency. We're applying it in a new way. And Bitcoin's still, honestly, I think they still need to use Bitcoin because so many people are involved. It's basically for the sake of the souls of people who are involved with Bitcoin that we're keeping Bitcoin. You know what I mean? It's to be nice, I think, and to save the innocent souls, of course, and not lose them in this process, not lose anyone to disillusionment or feeling unfair. We want everyone to feel fair and participate in the economy healthy. And we want some XRP vending machines eventually. Very cute. Who knows? Who knows what it's going to be? They're still yet to develop in that field. It hasn't fully decided itself, which is an amazing place to be. I never thought I'd be this way economically, ever. That was not on my bingo card personally for me, knowing that I knew, you know what, that's wrong. I knew the financial system was going to have to change, but I didn't think I was going to know or be involved with it as much as I am. I guess is maybe the bingo card. But yeah, I am. So if you guys need info on that, follow Cosmic Origins. Get in touch with him. He has an Instagram account as well. Same name. Origins with a 0 instead of an O, though. Fun facts. Now go do some astrology for your friends and family. Go find your primal astrology animal and DM me. And let's move on. Love you guys. Have a great night. Bye, everybody.